betrayed WCW.
What in the hell is he doing here? Monday Night Raw, Monday Nitro. He is broken.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. Brett Screw Brett. The new world order, brother. Let's get this. We are at war.
Okay.
Thank you.
By the way, let me just make
It's my forte.
Your spray tan looks good, Bear Brian.
Looks horrible.
What are you talking about?
That's fine.
Looks good under the lights.
You should see my feet. They don't look
Your
good.
camera doesn't.
Are they not
That's why
tanned?
I'm wearing socks and they're under there. There's like dots all over it. I look like I'm 100. Anyway.
WCW Monday Nitro number 246, also June 5th of the year 2000.
It is so amazing that we get Raw done in 22 minutes.
Yes.
And we're
Nitro
still here more than an hour.
Is also a fucking 2-hour show, and it takes us 45 fucking minutes
There's
to review
a lot
this
of
thing.
things to review.
Well, there's a lot more stuff that happens, and it's all stupider.
For the most part, yeah.
So we open with hype for tonight's Goldberg Tank Abbott main event. Well, it wasn't even the main event, but it was a match.
You know what I hate about this fucking show?
Everything from the start to the ending.
The 2
How
hours.
fucking dumb it is. And how stupid the people have to be that put this show together.
Yeah.
Okay? So, Bischoff, Russo, and the crew come out. And Bischoff is doing his usual gimmick. He's bragging about taking out Lex Luger and the Millionaires Club.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Bischoff isn't a millionaire? He's new blood? Or is he unaffiliated?
Oh, he's new blood.
Eric, wait a second. No. Eric Bischoff
Where you been, dude?
is new blood?
He's been by Russo's side since they came back.
Russo is new blood?
Yes.
No, there's two factions, and they have to be unaffiliated. There's no way that these two motherfuckers are new blood. No, Vinny, you're wrong.
Okay, I'm wrong. I would rather be wrong than argue about this.
How are they in the new blood, and they're not in the Millionaires Club?
Because they're feuding with the millionaires.
Eric Bischoff ran this motherfucking company. He was ATM Eric. How is he not in the Millionaires? How are the Millionaires Club not the heels?
That I don't know.
Motherfucker.
That I don't know.
I hate this show. There's no way they're new blood. It's just bullshit. There's just no way.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
No.
I don't know what to tell you. Except for the fact anyway.
I realize that blood drops from the ceiling because they're fucking new blood. But this is just shit. Can't they just drop money on people and be the Millionaires Club?
Now that would get over.
Like just big stacks of money fall from the fucking ceiling.
Crates of money.
Big bags with a dollar sign on it fall from the ceiling and land on guys. Isn't that better than this fucking blood?
It will be better.
The fucking blood only the baby face.
Yes.
Call Cody. Get
That's
him on
not
this.
even possible. Do you understand? I cannot suspend my disbelief that the blood only affects half of the participants. This is such stupid garbage bullshit.
Should we review the show now?
I'm not sure I can go any further than that.
Well,
Your point is valid, Brian.
you're right about everything.
Yeah.
None of it makes any sense, and it's all dumb. That's a fact. So, Russo books Kevin Nash in a new blood gauntlet. That's what he called it, Brian.
Ugh.
A new blood gauntlet.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's affiliated.
So if he loses in this gauntlet match, he loses his title shot at the Bash. Kevin Nash does. And
Who's
also
the fucking champion?
Jarrett.
Okay.
And also, if a millionaire... This is important, actually.
Are we sure Jarrett's a champion? Because there was a Thunder we didn't see.
Pretty sure Flair's
Yes.
the champion.
No, Jarrett's the champion. He won it last week at the end of... Somebody... Because last week... Nash... You were already figuring this. Last week, the show
No,
opened...
I think you are.
Last week, the show opened with Nash giving the title to Flair. And the main event of the show, Flair lost it to Jarrett.
You're right. But
And
my
then-
point is there was a Thunder in between. Is it possible that Terry Funk is a world champion right now?
Then how at the end of this show do we get a new champion?
We don't.
We don't, Craig.
No, that's important. Jarrett has the belt on the show, and he has it when the show's over.
Okay.
We'll discuss.
Okay.
So this is important, everyone. If Kevin Nash loses this
Yes.
gauntlet match, or if a member of the Millionaires Club interferes.
Yes.
If either of these happen, then Kevin Nash loses his title shot at the Great American Bash, which, oh, by the way, is Sunday. This is the go-home show. Keep that in mind as the show continues. So they book Jarrett versus Sting for tonight.
Can we talk about the Russo promo where he talks about how he was forced to move to Atlanta and work for WCW?
That's what he said?
He was forced
Listen.
to move here.
I'm not going to say nice things about Vince Russo often.
He's a great heel.
When he said that he was constantly surrounded by a sea of hornyackers and then immediately started to bury John Rocker, this is a highlight. It's a highlight in the Vince Russo run.
I did write, and this is a direct quote, and I feel no remorse. He was a great television heel.
Okay.
Sure.
He did not need to be writing this program because
No.
he's a fucking moron.
Yes.
But he could be a very unlikable television character. I will give him credit for that.
Now, the last time they were in Atlanta, they ran the Georgia Dome, correct? And it was like half full.
Fuck if I know.
Yeah.
And now they're in the Phillips Arena.
Okay. Smaller?
Oh, lots.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So Russo is wrestling Flair in a cage match tonight. And he says, "You won't have a brain aneurysm. You'll have brain damage." I guess he is stupid.
That's worse.
Well, we knew that.
Bischoff vows he will take the hardcore title off Terry Funk. He moves on to Goldberg. This is all one segment, by the way. This is still going on. Goldberg last week screwed up their plans to take Kevin Nash out. At this point, we, the viewer at home, see Goldberg walking around backstage. The fans in the building do not. Bischoff says he will suspend Goldberg if Goldberg interferes again.
Oh, yeah?
Russo plays bad cop. He calls Bill a punk. He calls him out. So Goldberg comes out. Huge ovation in Atlanta. He's killing the security team, and Bischoff and Russo flee. And then, I swear to God, at least 100 men come running down the ramp to fight Goldberg. There have been entire promotions that have run successfully for years with smaller crews that were just in the security team.
I could have told you that. I did love that Russo is calling Goldberg a punk. Bischoff is there begging him. He's begging him to just shut up because he's going to get himself in trouble.
Yes.
And sure as shit, he gets himself in trouble.
Yes.
Goldberg comes down, beats the shit out of everybody. They go backstage, and Russo's on the couch, and he's just saying, "I said I was sorry. What more do you want?"
Yes.
That's a great heel.
He's
an idiot.
That is the payoff. This went too long, but it was not terrible.
It was not 27 minutes.
It was less. Yes,
so
true.
it did not go that long.
So Bischoff and Russo are now backstage yelling at each other. Russo's being an idiot. Bischoff is mad at Russo for being an idiot. Speaking of idiots, Kidman wants in. Now, I have no idea why, but now he is mad at Horus and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Well, I know he's mad at Hogan.
Wasn't he on the same team with Horus before?
Yes.
Yeah, but they broke up because remember Horus got Tori.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
There's a lot to keep track of.
No shit. I can't believe I remembered that.
So Kidman I thought he wanted a match.
He wants Horus and Hulk tonight.
Right.
And Bischoff doesn't give a shit.
Bischoff no longer cares about Hulk Hogan.
Bischoff does not care about a Hulk Hogan match on Nitro.
No.
That's the story we've been told.
That is what's going on here.
Yeah.
So Kidman said, "I want a match with Horus and Hulk," which I thought meant a three-way. He wanted to face both Hogans.
No, it was a handicap match.
Oh, the two of them against him.
I think so, yeah.
Well, regardless, that's not what happened. None of this is what happened.
Isn't this where they said that Hulk wasn't there?
Well, he was there, so.
Well, I know.
No, they never said Hulk wasn't there. They said Hulk wouldn't wrestle. But
Yeah, Hulk Hogan is not going to wrestle
that's
tonight.
later.
Right.
That's later.
Which why, if you are a Hulk Hogan fan and you find out that Hulk Hogan isn't going to wrestle tonight, why would you watch?
Because you presume they're lying.
I see.
Right.
You have to think for them.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Someone must.
Sure.
Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo versus Chronic. We are shown clips. We are shown clips from Thunder, where Stasiak and Palumbo won the tag titles. How do they win the tag titles, you ask? The Cat was in charge. He waived the DQ rule, and even though Chronic had the pin, Brian Adams had a weapon. They were DQ'd, and thus Stasiak and Palumbo are the new tag champions.
All right, may I have a moment here on this match?
Sure.
Can I stop you?
Correct me if I am wrong, okay? Chronic is facing Stasiak and Palumbo.
Correct.
Shat comes out to watch.
Right.
They're having a match.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
It's actually not bad for a while.
Okay.
Hard hitting. Starts to fall apart there at the end. Shat then comes down and he gets in the ring, and the wrestlers begin to brawl into the crowd.
Right.
Okay. Shat then grabs the referee and as the announcers explain, demands the referee count them out.
Yeah.
Yeah. You must enforce the rules.
That's my point. Why isn't Shat the fucking referee? Why wasn't the goddamn referee counting them out when they were brawling in the fucking crowd?
I have no idea.
They're acting like Shat is like doing some sort of
the exact
vile behavior.
The exact line is, the cat is costing Chronic.
Yes, he's not. He's telling the referee to do what the referee was fucking supposed to be doing because they were fucking brawling in the fucking crowd.
Enforce the rules and do your job and call it fairly. Count them out.
Jesus
so the referee
Christ. So I'm not wrong.
No.
Okay. You're exactly right. Now, it's more complicated than that. They can't just do one stupid thing. They must do two stupid things simultaneously. So the referee is counting 5, 6, 7. And Bryan Adams says, well, I don't want to get counted out. I will throw Stasiak in and then roll in after him. He throws Stasiak into the ring. At this point, the cat jumps in front of the ref and goes, 8, 9, 10! And thus, Chronic get counted out and lose, and the New Blood team are the winners via countout.
Yeah, this is awful.
Yeah.
Like, I could not figure out what was going on as Shat is telling the referee to do his job, and the announcers are telling us that he's screwing the teams who are outside the ring for way more than 10 seconds.
Yeah. It didn't make any sense. You would have to be dumb to think this made sense.
Then the teams beat up Shat like it's his fault they got counted out.
By the way, who gave Cat the authority to change rules and enforce rules? What is he doing out here?
Well, he was given permission to run Thunder, right?
I guess.
But now it's Nitro?
It is, in fact, not Nitro.
I don't know.
Russo is here. Bischoff is also here.
I don't know.
Okay.
It is a shitty television show.
He was Bischoff's right-hand man at some point.
I guess. So regardless, Adams hits an F5 on Stasiak, and Brian Clark pulls out a table, then it's to the back.
Okay. I laughed so hard at this next segment, okay? Kidman is backstage, and he is inexplicably yelling at Tori. I don't know what she did wrong. I mean, I guess there was a whole Horus thing.
In the thing with Horus, Tori was there, and when she didn't get her way, she rolled her eyes on Eric and walked out.
Okay, sure. So he's yelling at her, and Major Guns walks into the room, and Kidman says, "Why don't you shut up, you dumb bitch?" Or something like that. He calls her a dumb bitch.
That was exactly what he said, yeah.
She fucking starts crying.
Yes. That happened.
She's weeping.
She buries her face in her hands, hangs her head, and walks away.
I realize that some of you are listening to this and you're thinking, you know what? If some dude came up to me and called me a dumb bitch, I'd probably cry too. But you got to watch this segment to realize how completely preposterous this is. Kidman is just over the top. He's like out of his mind. He's got his high-pitched voice. He's calling her a dumb bitch for like no reason.
Yeah.
And she immediately burst into tears.
Yes.
I was crying at how stupid this was.
She failed to act convincingly like someone whose feelings were hurt.
Yes.
And just for journalistic purposes, the top that Tori Wilson was wearing made this Hall of Fame worthy. And by that, I mean Tori.
There's nothing wrong with her bottoms either.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Kidman told her. Kidman told her to stay in the back.
Yeah, no, pig, right? I know. Go ahead.
Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash arrive. They are immediately interviewed by Pamela Palumbo. Nash is checking her out as she's asking a question. She asks about this gauntlet match he has where he could lose, in a very unfair manner, he could lose his title shot at the pay-per-view. He responds to the question, is Goldberg here?
I laughed at this.
She says yes, and he turns to Scotty and says, I'm the last one here. My gimmick is still alive. And they both laugh and they walk away. That's all Nash cares about.
You know, what I do want to mention here is that Pamela Palumbo was there doing the interview, and she is minimum 100% better than she was last week.
Okay.
So that is one thing that they do better than Raw.
Sure.
The Raw women start out great and then descend into mediocrity. This woman was horrible last week, and now she's no good, but she's like twice as good as she was last week. So I got to give her credit for that.
Okay.
Yep. MIA are having a meeting when Major Guns arrives, face still buried in hands, still sobbing because Billy Kidman called her a dumb bitch. G.I. Bro arrives, tells her to quit crying, and says their mission is to kick Kidman's ass.
Captain Rection, engage the troops. What? That's what he said.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
Somehow I didn't know it when he said it, but I know when you say it, that is what he said.
Yeah.
Nash and Steiner tell Goldberg to kick Tank's ass. They're all buddies now.
Yeah.
Scott Steiner, Kevin
How
Nash, and
is
Goldberg.
Steiner a babyface?
I
I
don't know.
don't get it. Like, this didn't happen when I watched it in the year 2000.
I don't know.
Like, it's totally the Mandela effect.
Only thing I remember about Scott Steiner's entire babyface run is the double clothesline spot from Thunder, where he
Yes.
wipes out 20 guys.
Dude, the
at
only
once.
thing I remember is like him beating the shit out of people, and he tried to run over a construction worker, and just a fucking crazy madman.
Tried to take out Dallas Page's
Now
eye.
I'm watching it, and he's like a good guy.
Yeah. G.I. Bro versus Kidman.
G.I. Bro did a bunch of eye spots early, and his hat didn't fall off because he's awesome.
And that's the only That's the only thing different about him than
Booker T.
Booker T.
Yeah.
He's got the hat.
He didn't even do the camel makeup this week. No. By the way, at the Great American Bash, G.I. Bro versus Sean Stasiak in a boot camp match.
Yes.
Why? If nothing else, Stasiak is a tag champ now. Have Booker find a partner. G.I. Bro find a partner. One of his friends here in these Misfits do a tag match. So we're doing Kidman versus G.I. Bro, which means I assume Kidman will be wrestling no Hogans later on the show in any combination.
Sure.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
So Booker T hangs Kidman in the corner like Goldust does for the nutshot kick. He calls Major Guns into the ring to kick this man in the balls. And this is not a DQ. Now, she gets in the ring. She's going to kick him in the balls. It's not a DQ. The Animals, by the way, their friend is going to get kicked in the balls. They just stand there and watch. Tori eventually hits the ring. She says, no, don't kick him in the balls. And then it's a swerve. She hits him in the balls instead. But then that's a swerve because Kidman has a cup and he takes it out of his pants and he throws it at her. But now that's a swerve because he turns around and Booker T rock bottoms him and pins him anyway.
This was the dumbest bunch of shit I ever saw.
And then Booker jumps up and gets hit with a chair immediately.
So you're telling me that, like, he was wearing a cup,
Right.
but that still led to the finish?
Yes.
Yes.
What a fucking geek.
Yes. And then the guy who got the win was immediately hit with a chair.
What an overbooked piece of crap match this was.
I do love G.I. Bro.
Well, sure.
He's great.
How could you not?
He's great.
And so the end result is the Filthy Animals leave the Misfits in action line. They were inactive, as it turns out. Bischoff and the Cat go for a walk and talk trash.
Oh, this.
All right, here we go. It's Terry Funk versus Eric Bischoff, all right?
Holy Christ. So we're supposed to believe in real life that Eric Bischoff thought that he was going to go out there and beat Terry Funk in a hardcore title match?
That's the plan, yes.
Sure. You're not buying it?
Well, he had Cat out there to help him. He thought Cat would help him. So Terry Funk is beating their ass. They run to the back. And Terry Funk runs after them, and they all disappear.
Let's not gloss over the beginning of this match, where Eric Bischoff pulls out nunchucks. Mm-hmm. Okay? The spot is, I'm going to swing the nunchucks, and you block it with a garbage can.
Yes.
He swings these fucking nunchucks, hits the can. Swings the 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 nunchucks, hits the can. I'm counting. Swings the nunchucks, hits the can.
Brian, if at first you don't succeed,
Swings the nunchucks.
try
hits
again.
the can. Does he swing low to go for the gut?
No.
No.
Swing the nunchucks, hit the fucking can. Like 20 fucking times in a row, he swings these nunchucks and hits the fucking can. I'm like, I was... When Funk finally hit him with that fucking can, I was mad at Funk. I was like, dude, you should have hit him with that can 20 fucking swings ago, dude.
All right, so Cat and Eric run to the back, and Terry Funk gives chase. And I'm thinking, oh, great, it's another count-out in a hardcore title match. That's awesome.
Oh, no.
Little did I know. So they leave,
And they vanished for a while.
they vanish, and we get a shot of the announcers, and Tony says, we're trying to get a camera backstage, everyone. And then music begins to play, and Miss Hancock comes out.
Yeah.
Because I guess Miss Hancock took it upon herself to cut a promo in the middle of this hardcore championship match.
Why the hell not?
Eric was busy, so,
So-
some screen time.
Her promo is she wants to dance.
Yes.
She does her dance.
Why
Now-
is Kim with Mike Awesome, by the way?
Last week, no, it was Palumbo.
Well,
Something happened with Awesome
Mike
Kim last
Awesome
No
week.
one
and
knows.
DDP have been feuding.
Yeah.
So, naturally, you go with...
Mike Awesome, I remember now. Mike Awesome last week said, I have a match with Paige. You know him better than anyone. I need your help. And I remember this because she
see.
pointed out how sweaty he was.
Right.
That's right. Don't put your hands on me.
Yes.
But now they're like together.
Now they're friends.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Tried himself off.
yeah. So, Kimberly and Mike Awesome come out. Kimberly is mad at Miss Hancock for stealing her spotlight. Craig, you mentioned Tori Wilson's outfit earlier.
Yes, sir.
Kimberly Page in long skirts cut up to the waist.
Money.
Buys.
Yes.
She says that secretary stripper look went out in 1993.
Oh, I don't know.
Wrong.
Factually wrong.
That was an incorrect statement by this heel.
Oh, speaking of incorrect statements.
Yes.
Well, first Kimberly takes Hancock's clipboard and breaks it over her back and leaves.
Yeah.
Miss Hancock, all 85 pounds of her, no-sells this clipboard attack, jumps up and dares Kimberly Page to bring her fat ass into this ring.
Yes. Back 19 years ago when fat ass was a negative. Kimberly is appalled being told she has a big ass. You geeky little wench. I'm going to give you a fat lip. Later.
The best part about this
She's Brock Lesnar now.
Sure.
Friday.
Sure.
Friday, I'm going to give you a fat lip.
The best part about this is...
There's a best part?
One of the best parts about this is...
Okay.
Miss Hancock says Kim has a fat ass, and Mike Awesome, who's standing next to Kim in her high-cut skirt, he steps back, he looks at her ass,
Yes.
he shakes his head. It's
No.
not fat.
No.
I laughed and I laughed and I laughed at Mike Awesome's stern disapproval of Kim's ass being called fat. Now, they leave. I think, okay, it's done. We'll go to commercial, whatever. No. The hardcore title match is still going on.
Yes.
Of course it is.
We were supposed to believe...
You cannot, Vinny, you can't be mad about this if you got mad about the count out in the Falls Count Anywhere match.
Well,
The match just kept going.
that one set a precedent, though.
But...
Well,
They didn't follow their own precedent then.
this wasn't Falls Count Anywhere. It's a fucking hardcore match.
We were supposed to believe that the hardcore legend Terry Funk and Eric Bischoff had been brawling for 9 minutes now?
Yes.
Vinny, let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Okay? You're the director on Nitro. Okay?
That would be better.
All right? Eric Bischoff and Terry Funk are fighting backstage. And meanwhile, Miss Hancock, dressed as a stripper secretary from 1993,
Sure.
is saying, I'm going to get in the ring and take my clothes off. Okay?
Okay. All right, I'm with you.
Touche.
Okay.
Thank you.
Touche, Brian. You've made an excellent
Thank
point.
you. When that shit was over, he went back to these two old guys.
Okay.
Well, the old guys come back out. They're still fighting. Okay, Brian, we could have had the hot women in skimpy clothing. Now we come back to Vince Russo and the Mama Lukes.
Yes.
That's worse than Miss Hancock dancing.
Well, they were gone by then. They'd announced their match.
So Vince orders the Mama Lukes to the ring. Terry Funk threatens to show his wrinkled ass.
And he didn't pull his fucking pants down because it was taking so long for the heels to get out there.
Yeah, the director did not show that, thankfully. The Mama Lukes come out. They destroy Terry Funk with weapons. They put Eric Bischoff on top, and Eric Bischoff wins.
He is your brand new WCW World Hardcore Champion.
Do you realize
Eric Bischoff.
they were watching Monday Night Raw and decided the thing to rip off here is Gerald Briscoe as hardcore champion?
Yes.
Eric, did you bring your gi?
Well, he didn't.
He didn't, actually.
Let's see if they've got his title history on the... Yeah, they do. That's the only title that Eric Bischoff ever won.
Well, thank God.
The WCW Hardcore Championship one time.
Did they have, like, karate tournament trophies or whatever he had on there?
And that doesn't list that. He got Best Non-Wrestler in 2005.
Wow. Actually, he was a great character. That's true. Ric Flair arrives at the building in a limousine, thus killing Kevin Nash's gimmick. He is not the last one to arrive.
That's a good call.
Reed and Beth are with him. Scott Steiner and Vampiro.
This match happened.
Oh, my God, it was great. Steiner just fucking killed this guy.
First, Scott Steiner, the babyface,
Yeah, that's weird.
recites a poem about meeting a strange woman and having his way with her in explicit detail. And we all cheer for him. And I will say this, there was a woman in the crowd who was not wearing a bra who liked this poem a lot. I guess she was the next freak in line. So then, yes, Scott Steiner attempted to kill Vampiro in this ring before our very eyes. Like, it's one thing to see him chopping the shit out of this dude or suplex him all over the place, because that's what Scott Steiner does. When he picks up a chair that's like halfway folded and doesn't like set it right or even turn it the right way, just swings it like an axe, like legs first in Vampiro's face, I'm convinced he was trying to kill him. Sells nothing the entire match.
Well, why would you?
Slams him through the announce desk.
Yeah, which was not set up to be broken.
No.
He's just like, I'll slam this fucker through this table. And he did.
I mean, it could have been an oak slab. He would have slammed him through it. So Vampiro picks up his blowtorch, and apparently not knowing how blowtorches work, begins to hit Scott Steiner with it. In the ring.
Well, it worked.
I guess. It was not a DQ.
You can light him on fire.
Medeja hits him with a crossbody. This is also not a DQ.
No.
Vampiro stalks her up the ramp with his gas can and his blowtorch. In the process, he circles around to block her escape, and he's taunting her and menacing her.
Well, he had his gas can in the other hand, and he was actually, pouring gas on the floor as he was going around. So he's actually pouring gas all the way around her.
I see.
As to light,
Yeah. The point is his back is to the entryway.
Right.
And so he misses Sting coming up behind him. Sting just walks up and takes his bat and goes, fuck!
Right in the back of the fucking head.
Just blocked him.
Yep.
Hit him I don't know, at least a half dozen more times with his baseball bat. None of these are DQs. And Vampiro gets thrown into the ring, and Steiner hits a belly-to-belly suplex overhead.
Onto his head.
Onto his head.
Just drops him right on his fucking
Puts
head.
him in the Steiner recliner and wins.
Yeah.
This was not boring.
No, my appreciation of blondes did not allow me to appreciate Medeja enough in the 90s. Just want to throw that out there. I was wrong, everyone.
Yes, you were.
And Geeks run down. Sting beats the hell out of all of them, and lax rules, they told us.
Oh, yes, the very relaxed rules.
Very much so for the next match as well.
Yeah. Tank Abbott versus Goldberg.
Okay, so hold on a second. Goldberg has been gone
Right.
since he put his fucking arm through a car window and almost ended his career. They've been building up Goldberg versus Tank Abbott on television for months and months and months and months and months.
Right.
Finally, Goldberg returns last week, and they announce, inexplicably, this will not be a pay-per-view match. They are going to put this match on free television tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Stupid. So, you could have argued the week before that no one's buying these goddamn pay-per-views. So, we may as well put it on TV and get a good rating. Well, this did not do a good rating.
No.
It did a shitty rating. So, they may as well put it on pay-per-view. But, you know the easiest way to get a shitty rating for a match?
Don't advertise it.
Have it be a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? After all this time, Goldberg gets in the ring. He suplexes Tank all over the place. Rick hits the ring. Tank tries to pin him. Goldberg kicks out. Nash comes down. He takes out Rick. And Goldberg hits the spear and jackhammer and pins Tank Abbott in the middle of the ring. It went 3 minutes.
Tops. Yeah.
I mentioned on Twitter, and I stand by this. If I have one regret about the death of WCW, available right now at Amazon.com, as well as Audible.com, I'll read the goddamn book to you. If I have one regret about that book, it's that I was too nice to this company.
Yeah.
This could have been a whole fucking chapter in and of itself.
This match.
This was the year 2000. They needed something.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? These fans wanted Goldberg really bad. And granted, they fucked up Tank Abbott, but people still cared about Tank Abbott versus Goldberg. And they fucking deliver a 3-minute match with, by the way, a spear and jackhammer, so you can't fucking do it again.
Right.
This was one of the dumbest fucking things I ever saw in my life, and I totally forgot about it because there was so much other fucking stupid shit that happened in the year 2000. A fucking travesty this was.
Yeah, this might have actually sold a couple pay-per-views. This might have made them some money, and they screwed it up.
Did you mention at the end, Goldberg was bleeding profusely from the back of the head?
Yeah.
Because Rick Steiner grabbed a steel chair and hit him in the back of the head in the middle of the ring during the match, and it was not a DQ. And again, the announcers say, well, relaxed rules.
Fucking idiotic.
Okay, that's not relaxed rules. That's no rules.
Idiotic.
And in that case, why not bring a gun? Why don't we have a firearm down to the ring?
Fuck, a dude brought a goddamn fucking flamethrower.
Yeah, blowtorch. Dispatch Bill Goldberg once and for all. Be done with it and win the feud. No, I'll use a chair. Anyway. Backstage, Goldberg orders the doctor to stitch him up. I'm sure he did.
Good call, Bill.
Mm-hmm. Pamela Paulshock, this is her question to Kimberly Page. I guess you showed Miss Hancock that nobody steals your spotlight.
It's not a question.
It's not. There's no question in there.
That's a statement.
That is a declaration. Kim dismisses her and promises that she and Mike Awesome will wipe the smile off Miss Hancock's face.
You know what's funny about this is that it was straight out of Raw, but it was still better because unscripted is better. Like, bad unscripted is better than bad scripted.
By 100 miles.
Because at least it still feels real.
Yes.
Sure.
Like, you think to yourself...
It feels authentic.
These two
natural,
people can't talk. You watch Raw, and it's like, these aren't two people.
Yes, that's actually true, yeah.
Thank you.
Now, there's more. She and Mike Awesome will wipe the smile off Miss Hancock's face.
Yeah, don't gloss over that.
I assumed this meant they were now going to do a handicap match.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Miss Hancock on her own versus Kimberly Page and Mike Awesome, which sounds unfair. The announcers translate it for me and say it's going to be a mixed tag. So, okay. And then Kim adds to Pamela, I know some boutiques that can help you with your wardrobe. Jeff Jarrett versus Sting.
All right, I got to wait for everybody to make some money, or one person. The first person who can send me an animated GIF of Jeff Jarrett successfully executing a Frankensteiner, I will give you $50.
Damn it, I was going to make it right now.
Yeah.
That does not exist.
Yeah, $50.
He always goes, sometimes it's a Frankensteiner, sometimes it's a dropkick. He always gets
1,000 matches.
Yes,
He's gone for that Frankensteiner and always gets At least Flair has come off the top rope like once or twice.
Well, once a decade, he'll hit a crossbody, yeah.
It's like Kidman getting powerbombed successfully.
Yeah, that's never happened either. So, Jarrett's out there using a chair on the ramp. It's not a DQ. The ref, as they explain, is not really counting the man out, just encouraging him to get back into the ring.
What?
So here's the finish. Sting, from the apron, does the sunset flip into the ring. And Jarrett grabs the ropes to block it. And he grabs it, and it won't go. And so the ref kicks Jarrett's hands away. And Jarrett's windmilling and fighting for balance. And he throws in the brakes. And he's not going down. He has won the battle. And then Sting just pulls him down and pins him anyway.
Yep.
Never give up.
He won.
Yes.
The delayed sunset flip.
Okay, so I feel a little better now because they revealed it was not a championship match when everybody thought it was.
Sting is celebrating with a belt when Bischoff comes out and says, I never said the title would be on the line.
Okay, so now that I know that, I'm a little less... I wasn't really irate, but I watched this match and I thought it was a title change like everybody else. And I just watched and thought... I worked 10 times harder against Logan Stunt on a show promoted by Ed than these two motherfuckers in a world title match on national TV.
Yes.
Turns out it wasn't a title change. They announced that the title was not on the line.
And
Sting doesn't even give a fuck.
Nope.
No.
He's like, well, I'll just beat his ass, send him to the show
He cuts
in
a
a body
promo
bag.
saying, I will just put him in a body bag now.
Yeah.
And he says these words. Jarrett's in the ring as he says this. And then Jarrett gets beat up anyway.
This was one of those things where, like, this might have been cool in a company that was hot, but in the year 2000 in WCW on a show as fucking horrible as this was a load of horseshit, this finish. They fucked over these fans. The wrestlers don't give a shit about it.
No.
Like, when Dusty got fucked out of something, he was mad.
Yeah.
Jarrett's, he gets his belt and he celebrates, and Sting just goes, fuck, Oh, send him in a body bag.
Sting actually
Hit
did
him with a guitar.
Sting hit the death drop on the ramp, and Scott Hudson yells something about a dusty finish.
Yeah, Eric Bischoff ran out and made it a dusty finish, he says.
Titles come, titles go.
So, does this mean he's not champion, obviously, but I mean, he just clean as a sheet pinned the world champion.
He should be the number one contender.
Is he now the top babyface? Is he set up for whatever's after the bash?
I don't
Does
fucking
he
know.
Get a title shot at some point?
I do not know.
So, they go to commercial. They come back. So, Sting beats up Jarrett, put him in the Scorpion for a long time, broke the guitar over his head. After the break, Jeff Jarrett, the World Heavyweight Champion, has been strapped to a backboard. His arms and neck and head have all been stabilized. Bischoff is screaming at the EMTs, be careful with him! And he's loaded into an ambulance, and the announcers promise, this man will defend the title, but he'll be less than 100%.
Whoop-de-doo.
Why?
I don't know.
How stupid do they think I am? They have a long way to go. Mike Awesome comes out for a promo.
It's bad, but it's funny.
It was a yes, exactly. This is like you said. This is a guy who can't talk. First of all, I want to thank the network for editing Mike Awesome's ECW theme, which is in fact awesome. So he's something about he's going to paralyze Paige. And he knows nurses who give great sponge baths, which I guess he meant as an insult, but I don't know.
Yeah, makes you want to go to the hospital.
I've had worse doctor visits. So he brings out Kimberly. They're ready for their tag match. Miss Hancock comes out and says, "I have a release that This is what she says. Kim, I know you're all about me. All your money is tied up in your moneymaker. I want to know that I will not be held legally responsible for messing up your pretty face. I need you to sign this paper." And Kim, at least she's a heel, but like a complete moron, she signs this paper, and then so we'll get to it. She signs the paper. Miss Hancock's partner is DDP.
What?
Now, before we know what's on the paper, okay, DDP's music hits, and Mark Madden says, astutely, Kimberly has a restraining order against him.
Yeah.
Scott Hudson, who works in criminal justice in his real job, says, and I quote, "So?"
Gosh. One of them, I think it was Shivani. "Yeah," he says, "but this is a signed verbal commitment matchup." I hate Nitro. It's an awful program for dumb people.
But let me tell you something, Vinny. The match is Kimberly and Mike Awesome against DDP and Miss Hancock.
Yeah.
Okay. Miss Hancock is out there in her suit and high heels.
In her stripper secretary outfit, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say I don't know how, but I do know how. Miss Hancock, in her stripper outfit and high heels, is an untrained wrestler, facing Kimberly, also an untrained wrestler.
In, like, platform boots.
Was significantly better than Charlotte versus Lacey Evans on Raw Monday night.
Ouch. Really?
I am not making this up.
Wow.
As God above is my witness. And do you want to know why? Because they idiot-proofed this. Even these fucking idiots knew to idiot-proof this fucking match. Meanwhile, the other idiots on Raw are like, hey, I got a great idea. Let's take a girl who can't work and put her in there with Charlotte and give them 11 minutes and have them shoot at the beginning. Or whatever the fuck they did. This was so much better. It was impossible. It was like it sucked. But I mean, it was so much better.
All they did was have a dance contest. They attempted to tear each other's clothes off. They didn't do a very good job. And then
it was still better than the grappling at the beginning of Lacey Evans versus Charlotte.
I'm not denying that. I didn't see it, but I'm not denying that. By the way, for those of you who have not figured this out, the papers Kim signed were a waiver.
A waiver.
I guess the...
I'm waiving the restraining order.
Yes, I guess the restraining order. I don't know if it's a one-night thing or what, but Paige no longer has a restraining order. So, let's see. The guys are wrestling now. Mike Awesome sets up a table on the floor and then climbs in the ring and hits a frog splash and tries for a pin. Now, why would you do that? If you wanted to put a guy through a table, why would you then try to pin him?
Well, there's a Billy Kidman match coming in a second.
Let's see.
Need that table there.
So here's the finish. Miss Hancock decides, I shall distract Mike Awesome. So he puts her, 46-inch legs or whatever they are out there. Now, she's wearing the tiniest, shortest skirt you've ever seen in your life. You can basically see everything, even though, just the bottom of the skirt. But she turns to the side a little bit and rips the side of the skirt to show about 2.5 more inches of leg. And now Mike Awesome is transfixed. He's never seen that upper thigh before. And so Paige hits him with a diamond cutter and pins him.
Yeah. That's the match.
That was the match. Backstage, Pamela Paulshock lets us all know Hulk Hogan told her that Hulk would not be fighting Horus tonight.
Oh, man. Watch Raw, everybody.
Bischoff comes out for a promo.
With the hardcore title. It's the same goddamn show.
Horus is sitting at a table. He was very insistent. I want to put my Uncle Hulk through this table. Bischoff says Hogan won't fight, but maybe he'll have the dignity to come out and forfeit. Come on out, Hulk. But then instead, the NWO theme plays, and out comes Hollywood Hogan.
Get it?
Yeah.
Hulk's not here tonight, but Hollywood is.
Yes.
What a swerve.
So, the cage match that they had for Russo and Flair, it's actually a cell. It goes all the way around the ring with the ringside and it has a roof.
Yes.
Yep.
So we got Hollywood Hogan versus Horus Hogan in a Hell in a Cell match. It goes 2 minutes. Hogan puts a chair on Horus's face, does the leg off, and pins him.
It actually wasn't bad.
It was
it's fine.
squash match.
Totally fine little squash
They
match.
did a squash match in a cell.
And then he grabs Kidman. And keep in mind, this is the go-home show for a pay-per-view where Hulk Hogan is facing Kidman.
Yes.
And if he wins, he gets a championship match.
Sure.
Hogan grabs Kidman. He throws his ass over the top rope. Kidman bumps through the table outside that Mike Awesome set up. He is left for dead. And I was supposed to care about their match on Sunday.
Right.
Yes.
I was just flabbergasted. What in the fuck was this? Now, granted, I didn't need to see Hulk Hogan get pinned again. That would have been dumb. But fuck.
The stuff after the match didn't need to happen.
Pamela interviews Flair. He threatens to beat up Vince Russo in a steel cage.
Yeah.
Russo's on the phone. He's infuriated that David Flair is not there. He's stuck in traffic. Kevin Nash is lacing up his boots. Vince Russo versus Ric Flair in a Hell in a Cell.
Oh, my God, Vinny. My God in heaven. Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler that has ever lived on the planet Earth. He got in there with Vince fucking Russo. And, you know, I always go, I've said this a million times. I see people in there with people that can't work, and I see them trying to do high spots, and I'm just furious. It's like, why would you try a high spot?
Well,
Don't fucking do this shit.
Yeah.
What is the first thing this fucking Ric Flair does? A fucking high spot with Russo.
Yeah.
And it worked. He takes over. He beats the shit out of Russo. His big knee drop. He chops the shit out of him. Russo's bleeding from the chest, screaming for David. Flair's giving him the suplex, the chops. He's just beating the shit out of him. Finally, who should come out from underneath the ring but David Flair?
Swerve!
David Flair gets in the ring. Let me tell you something. David Flair is better than Russo.
Yes.
He also fucking sucks.
Yes.
Ric Flair is now in there with two fucking terrible wrestlers.
That is true.
He proceeds to have a fucking good match with these two motherfuckers. Yeah. He beats the shit out of Russo. Then he goes and he beats the shit out of David. David takes the Flair bump in the corner.
David
the chop
pulled
on
off
the
the
apron.
corner flip, yes.
Yep. They have a ladder in the ring, and Russo tries to climb out. Flair goes after him. They brawl on top of the cage. Russo tries to climb back down. Flair stomps on his fingers. Russo falls into the cage. Flair climbs back down. He just beats the shit out of everybody, puts a figure four on Russo. When he puts that figure four on Russo, I'm like, I have never in my life, as God is my witness, I have never seen a performance like this. The match that he got out of these two absolutely green as grass, useless competitors, God bless them, the match he got out of these guys was unbelievable.
That is fair.
Then he puts Russo in this fucking figure four, and Russo just won't quit.
Time stood still.
I timed this.
Yes.
For those of you who don't believe me, it is at the 1 hour, 32 minute, and 22 second mark when Ric Flair locks on this figure four. The camera doesn't move, Russo doesn't move, Flair doesn't move, Nate doesn't move, David doesn't move. They're just all lying there. 1 minute and 14 seconds.
Yes.
Now, I'm guessing somebody was gun shy and didn't dump the
I
red
presume
liquid.
they were just late with the blood, but because it's Ric Flair, I always presume they also wanted to humiliate him.
And screw him. In Atlanta.
Yes.
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 So one way or the other, Russo just survives the figure four for 1 minute and 14 fucking seconds.
Russo feels no pain. He will not quit.
And then the goddamn blood drops and it douses everybody.
Yes.
But only Rick sells.
Yes. And Nate.
Yes.
Well,
And
he had to. He got knocked over by the contact of the liquid.
yes. And Russo ends up pinning Ric Flair.
Yeah.
The finish was atrocious,
Yes.
but the match was something that like everybody should watch.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what Ric Flair got out of these two fucking guys. Unbelievable.
The lesson is,
He wrestled 2 broomsticks.
he did. If you have a match with a guy who absolutely positively cannot wrestle, just beat them up. And it'll be great.
Okay.
Fantastic. Steiner and Nash are having a conversation that we can't hear. Did anyone get anything out of this?
Couldn't hear a word.
Madden talking about the last segment says, blood fell from the ceiling. Shivani corrects him. Madden, it was red liquid. We have... Oh my God. Oh my God.
Kevin Nash gauntlet, baby.
People told me what happened to this match, and still watching it somehow was worse than they said. Kevin Nash versus the New Blood in a gauntlet match.
Yes.
So Nash comes out, and then Russo has sort of tried to towel off some of the blood. He's still got red liquid all over him.
He looks like Cody in the post-show.
Actually, he did.
Double or nothing.
Only in much worse shape. So Disco Inferno is out there.
Can I ask you a question,
He may have
Vinny?
stolen my Deion Sanders jersey. Yes.
They're in Atlanta.
Yes.
Why did Disco come out wearing an Atlanta jersey?
I don't have an answer.
He's a bad guy.
Yes.
Fuck if I know.
I don't have an answer for why he was wearing the hometown jersey. I guess this is 2000?
Maybe they just lost a big game and he was mocking them.
Not in June. They don't play in June. I'm trying to remember. I think Deion was retired by the
Well, the NBA playoffs, right? Was it
It was a football jersey.
Oh, football jersey? Yes. Yeah, I don't have an explanation.
Regardless,
was next
I have the exact same jersey hanging in my closet. So, Russo reiterates: if anyone pins Kevin Nash, or if any millionaires interfere,
Yes.
then Kevin Nash will lose his title shot at the Great American Bash. Which, by the way, this is not just the go home show. This is the go home segment
Yes.
for the Great
Yes.
American Bash.
Now, I might add you have Thunder.
I guess that's true.
But I should add that when he came out, my first thought when he gave the speech was, how do you win? Because it was never explained how Nash won. There's like every heel in the world is like, he has to beat 55 guys.
Yes.
There's 4 minutes of TV time left,
Yes.
you fucking idiots. So,
All right, here's what happens.
dude.
Disco runs into the ring. Kevin Nash hits a side slam. Nash makes a cover, and the ref counts 3.
Yeah, Nash pinned the Disco Inferno with one side slam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chris Candido hits the ring. Kevin Nash is a power bomb. He does not make a cover. He's nowhere near Chris Candido.
No.
Kevin Nash is over here. Chris Candido's laying down over here. The ref counts 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
He wasn't covering him. He didn't have a foot on him. Nothing.
Did he use astral projection to pin this man?
I've got
Did
to
his
give
ghost pin Chris Candido?
I've got to give Nash a little bit of credit here. Okay, are you ready for this?
I'm listening.
I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Oh.
So what happened was when Candido ran in and he power bombed him, Johnny the Bull also ran in and Nash power bombed him.
Yes.
Okay, so there's now 2 bodies down.
Sure.
All right. So I think that Johnny the Bull jumped the gun.
Well, this whole thing was very clearly rushed.
Yes.
If you want to argue this is not Kevin Nash's fault,
Well, I'm gonna because I'm gonna tell you why.
Well,
So I think Johnny the Bull jumped the gun, and
Yeah.
so the ref felt I've got to count the pin on Candido, even though Johnny the Bull is getting power bombed right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so the ref counts the pin.
Yes.
Now the reason I'm giving Nash credit is because I don't know if it was Ray or it was somebody else, but somebody else ran in.
eventually, I wrote it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, one of these guys gets knocked down, and he's on his back, and Nash is nowhere near him. And this goddamn ref drops to count again. Nash, I've never seen him move so fast,
Yes.
rushes over to put his foot on the chest
Yes.
to make it a real pin.
Yes.
So I don't think this was Nash being lazy.
No.
This was Nash trying to figure out, why the fuck is this referee counting when I'm not even on these guys?
No, I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
But you're missing the point. I don't care whose fault it was.
It was stupid.
The product is infuriatingly stupid. So
Were phantom pins.
he pins Disco in front of the side slam. He powerbombs Candido. The ref counts 3, even though Nash doesn't pin him. He powerbombs Johnny the Bull. The ref counts 3, even though Nash doesn't pin him. He powerbombs Big Vito. The ref counts 3, even though Nash doesn't pin him. He powerbombs Rey Mysterio Jr. Kevin Nash does pin this one.
Actually, Ray was a big boot.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was very fast. I cannot keep track of it all.
That was the point. He got hit with a big boot and got pinned.
Yeah.
Like an absolute geek.
At this point, 5 or 6 dudes at once all hit the ring. It's not a DQ. The fans are chanting for Goldberg. Goldberg's music plays. And Goldberg hits the ring and begins to attack people.
Is he not a millionaire?
No.
I'm quite certain Bill Goldberg was a millionaire in the year 2000.
Well, I
There's
mean,
no doubt in my mind.
That's not what separates the millionaires from the new blood. I mean, was he unaffiliated? Is that the gimmick here?
He'd been gone when all these factions got split up.
Yeah, so maybe
So
he was
I am to
unaffiliated.
believe he's a free agent.
Yes.
He's a
He is
freebooter
neither
in this
new
war.
blood nor a millionaire.
Yes, this actually did make sense. That
No.
particular part.
That's the only thing
That's
that I
the
can
only
figure.
part.
Now, they didn't explain that. Okay?
Craig saying that made sense actually caused like a twinge in my neck. I may have burst a blood vessel. So
Now-
if I die here, I apologize.
That only part.
I
Just
will
that one
I
part.
will defend you, Vinny.
Yes.
When Goldberg runs in and helps Nash clear the ring, The announcers are baffled. And they have no idea whether or not Nash successfully ran the gauntlet. Like, they actually say that. Did he run the gauntlet? I'm like, you fucking tell me. You're the fucking commentators. Did he or not? And then they say, what does Goldberg's interference mean? Does it mean anything? Again, you tell me. So I think the show's over, and Eric Bischoff comes out, and he says, Goldberg, I vow to suspend you if you interfered, and so I am suspending you on Thunder. What?
That's your tease.
You're not suspending him now.
Everyone watch Thunder so you can see Bischoff officially announce Bill Goldberg's suspension.
Right now, he's not suspended.
No.
Okay. But if he shows up at Thunder, he's going to be suspended.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Just don't
so he
show up.
says, Eric, if you suspend me, your ass is next.
Yes.
All right. This program was wretched.
Yes.
This was a wretched, fucking horrible edition of a professional wrestling television
one of the
show.
worst I've ever seen.
Literally one of the worst. It's not the worst. There have been worse. But it was very, very bad. I can't believe this made the air. I mean, I can. Because they just went live and did a bunch of shit.
Did you remember 40 minutes ago when you were baffled that Monday Night Raw won?
We spent almost an hour on that.
Yeah. And I'm sure we missed stuff.
Yeah.
I'm certain we missed some stuff.
Yeah. You know, I wonder if we reviewed Nitro first, if those Raws would all look better.
I'm sure they would. I don't know if our shows would be better, though.
Fuck. So there you go, everybody. That's Nitro, 19 years ago
Thumbs
this
down.
week. Yeah.
If you're wondering, we do not recommend watching the show.
Less than a year left. That's all you need to know.
How'd they make it that long?
I don't know
How'd they make it through
that
July?
long. I don't have any idea. They barely made it through July. You'll find out.
Okay.
They barely made it through July and August. All right, everybody.
Here we go.
Oh, the main event.
Now,
Yeah.
I don't know how slow you can play this.
I can just go on a loop forever.
You may have to. This may take an hour by itself. The finishes on this show were Screwjob countout enforced by a guy who is commissioner or a friend of the promoters or something, I don't know. Pin after two women are in the ring and one hits a nut shot, but the dude's wearing a cup, but it didn't matter because he still lost. Pin in one of the worst hardcore matches ever after interference of three men with two women cutting promos and another dude shaking his head and staring at ass. Submission after one dude used a weapon and
Sorry.
it's hard to do this with Craig.
I'm sorry.
Submission after one dude used a weapon and a woman interfered and then a mime from hell interfered and hit a dude with a bat over and over and over again. Pin despite interference from a dude with a chair. We're like halfway done. Pin despite a guy using a chair in a surprise non-title match. I think a clean pin.
A surprise non-title match.
Surprise non-title match. I think a clean pin in a mixed tag match. A clean squash in a Hell in a Cell match. Pin in Hell in a Cell after interference from a man's son and dozens of gallons of blood are dropped from the ceiling. And finally, in the worst gauntlet match of all time, one man gets 5 wins even though he wasn't even pinning some of these men. And then a guy interferes, and the match just ends even though a half dozen men in the gauntlet never got their match. And also we were told if there was interference, the one guy would lose his title shot, but I guess he didn't lose it after all.
That was 3.5 times through that song.
Wow. How long is the song?
35 seconds.
Faster than I thought it would make it then.
Denny, that was wonderful.
You're welcome, Craig.
That needs to be on Best of 2019.
I wanted to do a screen cap of that to share that with the Twitter universe, and it barely fit on my screen.
Jesus.
It's huge.
Fuck.
In fact, hang on. That finishes show was...
That was a show.
The finishes report was 249 words.
Wow. Wow.
Okay.
In year 2000.
Well, welcome to Nitro in the year 2000, and this was the Nitro. I never got, like, angry watching this or exasperated or frustrated or anything, but by the end of this, it was so abundantly clear not just why WCW died, but why major network television, major cable television would not touch pro wrestling for another 2 decades.
Yeah.
This killed everything, man. And you watch it, and you understand.
You know what I got out of this was 2 things. I'm going to give the positive and the negative about Vince Russo. The positive is he was a tremendous heel. He was a great heel character on television. If he'd only been a heel character on television, I would have been fine with him. The problem was he was also writing this shit. And when I wrote Death of WCW, we never really fingered one person as being fully responsible because there were a lot of people that did a lot of stupid things. Okay?
It's complicated, yes.
But you know what? When this show was over, it really hit me that the second run of Vince Russo was the one that put this ship into the iceberg. After this second run, there was no turning back. It was done, okay?
We mentioned...
And hold on. The key to this second run is this guy made this show all about himself.
That's true.
The entire run was all about getting one person over, and that was Vince Russo. And him doing so, that run is what killed this company. So really, you can almost finger him as being wholly responsible for the death of... I won't do it, but man, when this show was over, I strongly considered it.
We mentioned when Sid was champion in that segment in between his 2 runs that the show was not that bad. It could have been saved. Done. It's dead. There's no hope now.
It cannot be saved. It is unsalvageable right now.
So WCW Monday Nitro number 247, also June 12th of the year 2000. So here's what happened at the pay-per-view. Horus helped Hulk Hogan beat Kidman. That's not a mistake on my part, even though I mumbled. Horus, the heel ref, helped Hogan beat Kidman. The Flair family helped Ric Flair beat David. Vampiro lit Sting on fire. And in bigger news than all of this, Bill Goldberg turned heel.
Excuse me. Bill Goldberg turned heel?
Their biggest star, the most popular guy they have, the guy who still had fresh matchups with like everyone on the roster, was made to be a villain and presented as someone you should boo.
So, 2 quick things about that. Number 1, they had, with the exception of Ric Flair, he was old, they had one young guy who was over. One guy. He was so over that when he wasn't on the show, his fucking truck was over.
Yes.
So he comes back, and the first fucking thing they do is turn him heel?
Yes.
Okay. When WWE turned Steve Austin heel, it was a really, really stupid thing to do. But I'm actually even more angry now because those motherfuckers had a template in WCW turning Goldberg heel, and they still turned Steve Austin heel. This is mind-numbingly stupid dumb fuckery, is what this is.
This is way, way dumber than Austin turning heel. I actually understand Steve Austin's own personal mindset, where he was afraid he would get stale and had to do something new. I get that. There was no one who thought Bill Goldberg might be stale at this point.
Well, there was one guy.
Russo, I guess.
Yeah.
A limo arrives, Russo and Bischoff are smoking cigars, and Goldberg is with them. So we cut to the announce desk. Last week, Ric Flair tore open Vince Russo's shirt and began to chop him. And Scott Hudson had a line about apologizing to everyone for putting that body on TV. And so, as punishment, Scott Hudson must do this entire show topless.
Yeah. And what was funny about it was he wasn't even embarrassed. He's just out there with no shirt on.
He's just doing his job. He's pudgy and pale and very hairy. Much hairier than I would have guessed. And he's just calling the show like normal. And it's one of those things where it may have been funny they put him on camera like that once and then took him off and brought him back. But when your announcer is standing there with no shirt and a tie over no shirt, we're supposed to care about anything that happens in the show when the whole thing is so clearly a joke. Why should we bother?
This is the least of my problems on the show.
There's more. Shivani,
I would like to add, by the way, that this show is not available at video.f4wonline.com, so don't buy the service to see this, but I also am doing the show with no shirt on.
Oh, how about that?
Because I am here in the loft, in my beautiful studio here at Cannon Beach, and it is easily 200 degrees in this room. There's no AC. The windows have been closed all day, and it was 85 degrees. And I came up here, I am sweating my balls off. I'm nowhere near as hairy as Scott Hudson. I want to throw that out there.
You're much leaner as well.
I, too, am doing this show with no shirt on.
You're much leaner. You may be as pale. I'm not sure.
No. I'm not.
So we get the Russo Bischoff promo. There's an extreme close-up on Bischoff as he talks, as you hear the crowd cheering and security running back and forth in the background. I don't know what was going on, but it was a highlight of the show. So here's the story of why Goldberg turned heel.
I can't wait.
The millionaires were all jealous that he was the future of the company. That's it. That's the story. Goldberg says every cutthroat in the back tried to knife him, and while he was out with an injury, the crowd dared to cheer for other people. This is stupid. This is all very stupid. Kevin Nash comes out, curses a lot, gets not bleeped. That's about all that shit I can listen to.
I presume this was bleeped in real life.
These people are tired of listening to your shit. Says, you don't even know who made you. Sting made Goldberg. Scott Hall made Goldberg. Hulk Hogan made Goldberg. Flair made Goldberg. I made Goldberg. He said, how, Kevin?
Well, it was funny that he was right about every name until he got to himself.
Well, that too.
Who was the man who killed him.
Well, that too. My bigger point is, he's basically saying all these guys jobbed to you. They lost to you in fake wrestling matches, Bill. That's why you're over. So Nash goes to hit the ring. Security stops him. I'm almost positive Eric Bischoff was screaming, knife him, at the security.
Well, it's funny because I wrote, shoot him. Because the cops are out there, and he's beating the shit out of the cops, and I can't figure out why the cops aren't doing anything about it.
So eventually they cuff him, but Vince Russo demands, instead of being arrested, I want him released into my custody.
I'm not sure you can do that.
Almost positive the cops won't do this. Russo books Kevin Nash versus Bill Goldberg for tonight. Madden says, man, this is just like Godzilla versus Megalon. And all I can think is, man, you just compared this to the worst Godzilla movie. That's very appropriate.
So he was right.
Yes. Actually, this is much worse than Godzilla versus Megalon by the end. Jarrett runs into the cat backstage, says, I want to defend my belt against Hulk Hogan right now.
So the Shat still has power?
I believe at some point the cat said he is commissioner, but Jarrett says this, the cat says, can I do that? Okay, so he does it. And that's that.
I want to know, I mean, I guess it was a plot, but I couldn't figure out why Jarrett the heel is demanding a match with Hulk Hogan tonight. I guess the whole idea was I'll hit him with a guitar, and then he won't be able to do the match, and then I won't have to wrestle him at the pay-per-view. But, I mean, can't do that at the pay-per-view? Like, you only have one more guitar? It's got to go tonight?
Yes. Yes. So backstage, the cops have Kevin Nash in a cop car. Vince Russo is telling him to hang out there till he's ready. And then he turns to a young boy. There's a young boy backstage, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. We are told this is Hunter, Kevin Nash's nephew.
What a coincidence.
I don't know.
Hunter.
So Russo is telling Hunter that Nash is going to get a beating. Scott Steiner comes out to chase Vince Russo around. In the process, elbows Hunter right in the head. The first of many incidences of child endangerment on the show. And all I could think was, this Nitro takes place in a world where Scott Steiner is a babyface.
I've been saying this for weeks. I don't think
and
this
now
world...
Bill Goldberg's a heel.
Yeah, I don't think this world really existed. I feel like something went wrong in the timeline somewhere.
We jumped a time stream somewhere. We are in a false reality now.
I'm pretty sure.
Do you know how much better I would feel about the world if I learned this was a false reality?
Well, or that we got out of that reality?
Yes. The Mamalukes are apparently both hardcore champion.
Yeah, Eric won the title, but somehow the Mamalukes have to decide who gets the belt. And of course, you'll never guess which guy gets it.
I'm more concerned with how he got it. Rather than think of all the ways you could have two guys decide which one of them is champion. What's the very worst one? I'll tell you the worst one. One guy has to go to the bathroom really bad.
That's what happened.
So Johnny the Bull is stuck in the bathroom. Vito, for reasons I cannot fathom, locks him in there.
Well, because he wants to be the champion.
Well, he was disposed anyway. He wasn't coming out anytime soon. So it's Vito versus Terry Funk for the hardcore title. They brawl here, they brawl there. A random security guy takes a chair shot right to the head. Funk falls through a table. They hit each other with chairs in the ring, and Vito hits a pile driver through a table and wins. So the point is, Vito took everything Terry Funk had to offer. Within the rules of a hardcore match, he fought valiantly and nobly. He was the better man at the end. People are cheering, and one of them says, as a matter of fact, many fans are applauding Big Vito's efforts here. So Funk presents the belt to Vito. He shakes Vito's hand. He turns his back, and Vito lays him out.
Yep.
Everyone write that down for a little bit here.
I would like to add that when I was watching this match, it was like they had a hardcore match, and, I mean, Funk's beaten everybody for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Bischoff finally gets the belt off him, underhanded means. Vito ends up with the belt, and they do this big match right here. And in fact, Big Vito proves that he is the current king of hardcore by beating Terry Funk in the middle of the ring. Terry Funk then endorses him. And as this happened, I thought, I actually like this. But there's one problem. It's Vito. Of all the men to pass the hardcore torch to in World Championship Wrestling, they chose Vito of the Mamalukes?
Well, I don't know. The Cat is backstage hunting for Hulk Hogan. I can only imagine that he would like the opportunity to hunt for Hulk Hogan more here in 2019.
Oh my God. Then we had my favorite thing on the show.
Really?
Vampiro is in the back, and apparently he has an emperor from Star Wars. There's a fucking guy in a robe and a hood, and you can't see him. And Vampiro is asking him for advice, and they're chit-chatting, and I'm not making this up, everybody. Whether it's the higher power, or the Emperor, or Dr. Claw, or whatever hooded villain you've ever seen in whatever genre you're watching, has there ever been a fucking higher power that sounded like a 20-year-old soprano?
No.
This fucking guy had the highest, most childlike voice. And he's supposed to be the big, bad dude that Vampiro's bowing down before. I was fucking crying.
Non-threatening, non-imposing, non-intimidating.
Dude, this was ridiculous.
So Vampiro says the icon known as Sting is no more. And the Emperor here, who, by the way, did you mention that he's got like the steel grate carved into flame behind him?
It's just fucking so dumb.
No, he says. Last night was just the first chapter. Tonight it continues. There are still more souls to be punished and purified. So a couple things. Had I not discussed Linda McMahon 30 minutes ago, this would have been the worst promo of the night. More, do you realize this is just the exact same thing Vampiro and Pentagon did in Lucha Underground?
That's where Vamp got it.
Vamp loves...
Maybe Vamp looked back and thought, fuck, what's that thing I did in WCW with Sting? That's right. There was an emperor played by a little boy. I'm going to bring
sensei.
This back.
What do you call him? A master. A master.
Yes.
Kevin Nash tells, of all people, Scott Steiner
died.
Please keep an eye on my nephew Hunter.
He didn't just tell Scott Steiner. He told Scott Steiner and his freaks.
Yeah. Yes. Shane Douglas comes out for a promo. He's rambling something about taking out the wall, having a partner who was exiled from WCW for reasons that sucked. That's his exact words. He brings out Buff. We are told Buff Bagwell was suspended for unprofessional conduct, to which Mark Madden says, you know, if you pick your spots right, unprofessional conduct can go a long way and get you places in World Championship Wrestling.
He's not wrong. I have a new respect for
babysitting
Mark Madden
backstage
here after looking back upon Mark Madden, he was much better than I gave him credit for being at the time.
He has some highs and lows, but yes. So Buff cuts a total babyface promo and says he has unfinished business with that pain-in-the-ass colonic. As in Chronic, of course. So it's Chronic versus Buff Bagwell and Shane Douglas. We are told that Chronic is the top contenders for the World Tag Team titles. For $1,000, I could not have told you who the World Tag Team Champions were at this point. I figured it out by the end of the show.
Hold on, I gotta think. Is the answer on this show? Because I just watched this show.
They did not wrestle, but I believe they came out later.
Huh, I am fucking baffled. Anyway, this match was absolutely horrible. And literally, Shane Douglas came out and introduced his partner who had been gone for 30 days. And the very first thing that happens when they have their match is they fucking can't get along.
Yes. And it was Madden, I believe, who said, these guys just got back together and they're fighting already?
Yes.
So, among other problems with the match, Shane cuts a heel promo. Shane cuts a heel promo. Buff cuts a babyface promo. Chronic have clearly been babyfaces, but Buff makes the babyface come back against them. And then Shane tags himself in, gets pinned with a double chokeslam, and then he fights with Buff. So here's what happens, everyone. Shane and Buff bicker, but then they shake hands, and Buff Bagwell turns his back. Shane, by the way, is standing there with brass knucks in his hand. And Buff turns his back, and Shane lays him out from behind. For the second time in 15 minutes, there's a handshake, and then one guy ambushes the other.
I can't believe that fact. That should be in your finishes report.
It may be, I forget. The Cat and Doug Dillinger argue about something, and the Cat is waiting for Hogan to arrive.
No, Shat wants to know, Doug, where's Hulk Hogan? He's supposed to be here by now. And Doug goes, dude, that's your job. This made Shat very upset.
Cat is now in charge of transportation.
Well, I mean, the point is, Doug Dillinger is merely the head of security.
I see.
Shat's supposed to be the GM, and Shat wants to know where everybody's at.
I see. Autocracy is a lot of fun. Or bureaucracy, that's what I'm looking for. Bureaucracy is a lot of fun.
Yes.
Mean Gene interviews Kidman, who hears...
Fuck. Kidman did not, in fact, retire Hulk Hogan at the pay-per-view, just for those of you wondering.
If you're wondering, yeah. Kidman hears that Jeff Jarrett will defend the title tonight, and it says, well, they're going to need a special referee, and he leaves.
What I loved about this was he was supposed to hear that they were doing Hogan versus Jarrett and then cut Gene off, but he cut him off before Gene finished announcing the match, so he jumped his cue. This was very bad.
Speaking of very bad.
What in the... Oh, actually, I did figure it out by the end.
So Paisley and the artist formerly known as Prince Aki are having a press conference.
I'm going to change my name to the artist formerly known as Brian Alvarez, so it can be Paisley and the artist all over again.
Sure. Paisley says he's now just going to be the artist. Everything's going, and it's fine for something this stupid, and then Paisley is called upon to act. I'm not going back to watch, but I think her acting here may have been worse than her wrestling against Survivor Jenna.
I'm not sure about that.
Hey! What's going on under there? She says. There is an old man under the table. Somehow he got under the table and apparently between her legs without her noticing. He declares he is hungry for pie.
So, when this happened, I had absolutely no fucking idea what was going on. And this fucking guy comes out from under the table, and all I could think was, why is Billionaire Ted under the table? Because it's the same guy.
Is it? Okay.
The same guy that played Billionaire Ted. Like, why in the fuck is this guy under the table? So they cut away, and I'm baffled. I'm absolutely baffled. I have no idea why there was a press conference with Paisley and the artist and Billionaire Ted showed up. I'm just aghast. So then they go down to the ring, and there's huge erection. And suddenly my brain started to recall. This fucking guy's Pops. He's huge erection's disabled grandfather. Do you remember this?
I know Hugh G. Erection was talking about it here, but I don't actually remember it, no.
I actually started to remember it when it happened. It's horrible. This is a horrible storyline here.
All I know is I'm watching this man who has to call himself Hugh G. Erection. He's cutting a promo about his Pops having a metal plate in his head and crapping himself. All I can think is, can you imagine being a grown man and having to go out and do this shit? Forget watching it. That's not happening.
Can you imagine that WWE hired him to run developmental?
I mean...
The answer, Vinny, is no. I can't believe it.
This segment was not his fault. That's avoiding your question in specific, but he was not the problem here, Brian.
I'm well aware of that.
Okay. So it's Lieutenant Loco versus the artist. Major Gun's big spot is to come into the ring.
By the way, why wasn't it Huge Erection versus Chavo? Because Huge Erection was upset about the promo and cut the promo, and he was all angry about what happened to Pops.
Paisley accepted the challenge, but only if it would be a title match with Lieutenant Loco.
I see. I got it.
Loco is the Cruiserweight champion. So Major Gun's big spot is to come in the ring, tear off her shirt, kick a guy in the balls. Paisley protests, so she gets kicked in the crotch instead. She
sold a kick to the balls better than dudes who actually get kicked in the balls in real combat.
That's actually true. And Loco wins with a tornado DDT, and Pops is about to molest Paisley, but they stop him.
Oh.
A limo arrives. Ric Flair's in it, and Beth, and Reed, and Charlotte, and the other daughter there, Megan, I learned by the end of the night. Megan Flair's there.
Okay, we had one of my other favorite segments. Russo is backstage, and I'll say it again. He is a great character, and every now and then he had a good idea for a segment. He's back there with these women. There's 4 women, and he says, I can't remember what he told them, but basically he's preparing an offering for Goldberg. He's trying to butter him up.
He tells them to do whatever it takes to make Bill Goldberg happy.
Yeah. So they go into the room, and the women come in, and Russo goes up to Goldberg, and without even batting an eyelash, Goldberg is like, get these goddamn women out of here. I don't want to see these women. And Russo says, I told you guys, get out of here. And he boots them out. I loved that moment. That was awesome.
The Cat is waiting for Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan arrives, driving a Dodge Charger, in his wrestling gear, including boots.
Of course. He just finished another shot somewhere else.
Most people have not worn wrestling boots, but trust me, it would be very hard to drive a car in those.
Well, that's your boots. I could drive a car in my boots.
Maybe. So the Cat tells Hulk he can get a title shot in 10 minutes. Hulk immediately accepts, but then Jarrett lays him out with a guitar and says the match is in a few minutes. At this point, the camera pans over to the side where Horus is lying in the rubble of a table. Okay. Russo and David Flair come out for a promo. Russo is tired of getting beat up. He vows Ric Flair will never chop him again.
This was another great Russo segment. He says, I will not be chopped. I hate you, Ric Flair. And Flair cuts his promo. He's going to take David home, and Russo wants another match, and Flair's like, you ain't going to get it, and Russo's begging for it, and finally Flair says, I'll make you a deal. If I beat you tonight, you retire. I'll be the boss next to Bischoff. We get along great. I'm going to take my son with him, and after we beat you, I'm going to shave your head, just like I did to Eric Bischoff. I'm going to shave your Yankee head, pal. And there's a pause, and Russo says, are we talking about a trim? Flair says, I'm going to retire you. I'm going to take your job. I'm going to take my son back. I'm going to shave your head and your ass. Russo says a New Yorker won't back down in front of these Richmond fairies. His words, not mine. And he says, you're on. It's a handicap match with my son, And Flair says, I'll go get Reed. We'll kick your ass again. And, like, it was a fun segment, but there's a couple of problems. Number one, the show reeks of desperation. Absolutely reeks of it. Number two, when did Flair ever announce he was putting his career on the line here? I didn't hear it. Did you hear it?
I don't know.
No, the point is he didn't. But somebody was supposed to say it because that was a stipulation later on.
Well, that would explain why they repeated the I'll shave your head thing 20 times. Somebody forgot a line, and so they just went back to the beginning and tried again, but they kept forgetting. They said the same three things over and over and over again. Goldberg and Nash are both brooding backstage. Jeff Jarrett versus Hulk Hogan with Billy Kidman as ref. Jarrett wants a count out, but Hogan appears to fight.
Totally none the worse for wear. He's fine.
He's fine. Remember that whole storyline about they would never get the red and yellow off Hogan?
Yes.
And then he just took it off and put the Hollywood gear back on?
Yes.
So Kidman here is calling this first down the middle.
Yeah.
He's been feuding with Hogan for months. But now he's mad at Bischoff and Jarrett and Horus because Horus, I guess, called the match cleanly the night before. I don't know. I was just.
Well, there's that whole Kidman and Tori thing as well.
I guess.
Keep forgetting about.
So Kidman is openly helping Hulk now. He takes the chair out of Jarrett's hands, gives it to Hulk. Now Russo and Goldberg are out there. Goldberg's late breaking up the pin. I don't know what was supposed to happen with Kidman and Hogan and Goldberg, but Goldberg spears Kidman. I don't know if he's supposed to get in the way or threaten a DQ or something, but Goldberg spears Kidman, very casually throws him out of the ring, spears Hogan, hits a jackhammer through a table. G.I. Bro makes a save, and they come out with a stretcher for Hogan. Was there a stretcher for Horus, who was also put through a table on the show?
Now, who cares about him? Yeah, this was a complete mess, and my exact words here when Kidman helped Hogan was, I have absolutely no idea what's going on, and this fucking sucks. I miss anything?
Well, you missed the point of this and the value of it, but there was none. So
okay.
Dallas Page cuts a promo. He comes out wearing a
motivational speech.
He comes out wearing a T-shirt that reads "whatever" and holding citrus in his hands. He's Orange Cassidy. So everyone told him how crazy he was to start so old. Starts talking about his friend Bischoff when Bischoff and Kim and Kanyon come out. Yeah, Kanyon's a bad guy now, everyone.
Yeah, apparently he was faking a neck injury and hopped out of a wheelchair at the pay-per-view to beat up DDP.
Yeah.
Another classic angle.
So Page is rambling, repeating himself, totally disinterested. It's a terrible promo. It sucks. Says this isn't worth it, and he leaves. And Bischoff tries to rebut, but his mic won't work. Monday Nitro, everybody.
I actually thought that his promo wasn't so bad. I mean, he had Kimberly and Kanyon both out there, and Bischoff's being all cocky, and he cuts a promo and talks about his wife never believed him as a wrestler, but she believed in him as a person, and she gave him so much, and all he wanted to do was give back, and now she's looking sad. Then he gives Kanyon a guilt trip. He's the only guy he ever took under his wing. He taught him the stuff that he was taught by his mentors, and now Kanyon's sad. And then finally he goes, you know what? Tenay asked me, is it worth it? And fuck, it's not worth it. This place sucks. I'm out of here. And he leaves, and now Bischoff's furious. How dare you quit? And Page leaves, and that's it.
We have pics of Sting being not on fire. We are told they will not show the pics on TNT where he is on fire. So remember when I said Mark Madden had highs and lows? I hope I never ever see that again, but I've got to be honest, I'm going to watch the encore just to make sure it really did.
Yeah, they are so appalled that Sting has been burned to a crisp that they're heavily pushing the replay for you to see it.
Yes. Vampiro does a promo, says he has no remorse, he wants to know who's going to hell with him. I guess it was an open challenge, which is answered by the Kiss Demon.
No. Seriously? The Kiss Demon?
He's still around. And I still want to know how, of all bands, they can play Kiss on the network when they have to edit out all these other songs that merely sound like other bands.
Kiss must have just given them the full rights to it.
Kiss doesn't give rights to anything.
Well, they did to this one, because trust me, they edit everything off these stupid shows. They edited 3 Counts music off.
They edited out the Misfits in Action song because it kind of sounds like War.
Yeah.
So, Here's the whole match. They brawl up to the stage. Vampiro does a dive off the screen. He appears
not caught.
He appears to blow out his knee. He is also bleeding from the arm. The bell rings, and it ends.
Yep.
Steiner tells whichever freak is with him to keep an eye on this 8-year-old boy.
I forget her name. It's the one that's not Medeja.
Yeah.
She fucking grabs this kid from behind. She's pawing all over him.
She's groping his chest.
I was like, Jesus Christ. The 2000s here.
This is... Yes. Nash is still in Shakira is her name, isn't it? I could have sworn it was.
Maybe.
Nash is still in a cop car. Russo is with David
Gravely
Flair.
concerned.
Russo is terrified of what might happen to him. He talked about shaving my ass, David.
Yes.
Like, this is awful. This does not make me want to see Ric Flair versus Vince Russo, but it's funny.
It is funny.
It's undeniably funny. Kim and Canyon come out. Kim is plugging her own personal cologne, which costs $395 a bottle.
I like how 2 segments ago they were both like really sad because Paige had made them feel terrible about how they were as people. Now they come out and they're totally happy. They're over it.
I believe they were supposed to be fake crying, sarcastically crying before. Madden's response to Kim's outfit is just to say, look at that cleavage, unbelievable.
See, the problem, Vinny, is Kimberly is such a horrible actor that I can't tell if she's pretending to be sad or if she's...
Or just being very bad at it.
Pretending to be sad.
Either way, it's sad. So Canyon says he is taking Paige's spot, his music, his wife. He's going to plug his own book.
Oh, we get all the diamond cutters.
He's taking back his move, the diamond cutter. He issues an open challenge, which is answered by Scott Steiner.
Okay, what in the fuck happened here? Steiner is out there and he's throwing the dude around for a while, and then Kim runs backstage, and then Kim and Stacy Keibler are in the ring. Kimberly is supposed to spray cologne in her eyes, but she sprays it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's still sold. And then Kim breaks her glasses and leaves. Was there a finish here? What happened here, Vinny? Help me out. I'm just befuddled.
The only thing you missed, Brian, was that Chronic came out, and we were told there was a history between Brian Clark and Positively Canyon.
What?
Now, I was confused then. I have been confused about this for the past 3 hours. As I read that line, it occurred to me they were Wrath and Mortis.
Oh.
And we're supposed to remember that.
Yeah, I didn't remember that.
From like 2 years ago.
Yes. Totally forgot.
What a stupid show. Did I mention how glad I am this company's dead? Let's see. Flair and Reed go for a walk. Russo and David go for a walk. Pamela tries to interview Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner's gimmick is that he's a womanizer. But he's so good at womanizing that women put up with it anyway. He goes to blow off Pamela Paulshock, who is a hot blonde. But he does so in the most polite manner possible. She tries to ask a question, and he puts up his hand. He's just like, Pamela, you're beautiful, but I have to take over. Like, he has more important things to worry about now than Pamela, but he also wants to keep that door open for when it's her time. So he takes the mic and then starts to scream. He's going to find Russo. He's going to find Bischoff. He's going to stick his boot so far up their ass they won't like it.
That's pretty far.
That's pretty far. And then they look around and say, hey, where's Hunter? They lost the 8-year-old boy.
Yeah. He didn't go far, it turns out.
David Flair and Vince Russo versus Ric Flair. So Russo's running wild, or Flair's running wild. He puts David in the figure 4.
Well, first he goes in the corner and he chops Russo, and Russo doesn't sell it. And so Flair rips his shirt off, and Russo had a chest protector on. So Flair rips it off and chops the hell out of him. I liked that. But they did it too early. Should have built it up for later in the match.
So, let's see. Flair puts David in the figure 4, and then Russo begins to hit Rick with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Reed attacks Russo. David pulls Reed off. They call in Beth Flair. They call her into the ring. They give her yet another Statue of Liberty statuette and say, break this over your husband's head.
Why would she do that? Like, have I missed something here?
I have no idea. It doesn't make sense. It's written by a dumb person. She refuses to break a statue over the head of the man who she's been standing by for months now. So Russo goes to yank it out of her hands. The statue breaks in his hands. He very quickly smashes it over Flair's head before we can notice it breaks in his hands, only he's not that fast. 14-year-old Charlotte Flair tries to make the save.
Oh, my God. She hit the ring a house of fire. Yes. Like, everybody talks about her appearances on Nitro, but I don't see people talking about this one. Like, this was a physical encounter. She tried to take this dude out.
Finally, the last Flair, Megan, after a baseball bat and statue attacks and multiple interference by security, she throws in the towel. The match is over. And the announcer's like, oh, Flair's career is over now.
Yeah, that was never, not one time in the promo, never did anybody announce that Flair's career was on the line. Only Vince Russo's. Flair has now apparently been retired. Mm-hmm. Russo then grabs a fucking pair of clippers and starts to shave the head of Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Ric Flair has been wrestling since the early 70s. That hair, the value of Ric Flair's hair, you know what he could have made to lose his hair in Mexico, for example?
Oh.
No one has ever shaved his head. And here on Nitro, with no build, because not even 30 minutes earlier when they were building this up did they say that Flair's hair was on the line. Only Russo's hair. They shaved his head. They shave up Reed's head. Russo celebrates. And I watched this fucking thing and I thought, you're the dumbest motherfucker in the history of wrestling. Do you know how much money you could have made off Ric Flair's hair? And instead, because you're so goddamn stupid, you just shaved his head at random on a Nitro show. No announcement, no build, no stip announced in advance, nothing. You just did a match and you shaved the guy's head for the hell of it. I literally could not believe my eyes. I was like, this is exactly why Russo was a failure. Because if you watch this segment, you can see the germ of a great idea. And if you had a guy with a clue, like Vince McMahon in the 90s, he could have taken this idea and they could have made a shit ton of money off of it. But there was no Vince McMahon. There was no Jim Ross. There was no Jim Cornette. There was no WWE, WWF writing crew to help Russo with his stupid ideas. He just went out there and he booked this fucking ridiculous segment, threw millions of dollars out the window of a sinking ship, I might add, that had just hit the iceberg. This was monumentally fucking stupid. I should have done a whole chapter in Death of WCW about this segment.
So, I would also add that if you told me that they were not planning on shaving Reed's head and just grabbed him and started shaving a stripe in it, I'd believe you. Because Ric Flair was selling like death, and when they put those clippers on Reed's head, Flair sprung to life. And he charged at them, and they fled for their lives. So who knows? Kevin Nash is let out of the car backstage, and we get our main event of Kevin Nash versus Goldberg. So all the bottom of the card heels come out to watch. The Filthy Animals, who apparently flew out for this, come out on stage. And Sean Stasiak is out there. And Chuck Palumbo is out there. And they have belts around their waists.
Excuse me, who?
As far as I can tell, your reigning World Tag Team Champions, the best tag team in the world, is Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo.
Sean Stasiak and Chuck Palumbo. Huh. That's fucking really weird.
That's bizarre. So they're doing this match, and Nash starts to make a comeback. Everyone hits the ring. Goldberg lays him out with a chair. Hunter is now at ringside, the 8-year-old one. Russo grabs him and makes him watch as I guess Nash is bleeding. So Steiner comes out to make the save.
There was no title change on the pay-per-view, by the way, for the tag titles. I have no idea where or when they won those. Must have been Thunder.
I guess. So you mentioned earlier when Kevin Nash was hitting cops. When Scott Steiner comes out to make the save and is just waylaying these security guys. This is the most violent thing on the show. He's just ruining men. Finally, they beat him with sticks. The Cat also attacks Scott Steiner. And Tony Schiavone then says the following quote, which I am not making up. We have seen a new all-time low for Nitro, which has been on the air since Labor Day of 95. Like I said, I never got angry. I think I maybe just passed the point.
I'm not past the point yet.
I'm numb to it now, but this may have been the worst one yet. The only thing we liked on this show was Russo being funny in segments that maybe should not have been funny.
Do you know, Vinny, that when they've shaved Ric Flair's head and that whole angle that we just talked about a moment ago, that drew a 2.82 rating against a 5.59 rating on Raw. And do you know what was going head-to-head with Flair getting his head shaved that destroyed them by well over double?
I do not.
Linda's interview.
Ah! Sweet Jesus.
That's what beat them.
My God.
Yep.
I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to do with myself right now.
Well, that's Linda's interview that you
what
made
a stupid business.
fun of. Is, there you go.
Well, nothing left to do but to finish this.
The finishes on this show were
a decisive win in a hardcore match. Clean pin. Pin despite interference by two women. No finish due to attack on a referee. No finish for no apparent reason. Submission due to towel being thrown in. And in the main event, no finish for no apparent reason again.
I was hoping that you would decipher what the finish of the main event was.
No, there wasn't one.
Because I watched it, and I was really trying to figure out what happened, and I was unable to come to any conclusion.
I am but a man. I cannot solve these mysteries.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Nash, by the way, did this match in street clothes.
Yes.
So,
he'd been locked in the car all night.
Oh, I see.
So, I mean...
I see. Well, he should have showed up in his gear like Hulk.
He should have.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm looking at my report here. I didn't even have anything resembling a finish.
There wasn't one. The show just stopped.
It just ended.
There was no music. There was no bell. No one celebrated. The show just went off the air.
This was a horrible, horrible, wretched Nitro. I was so angry when it was over.
Like, impossibly bad.
And because we had to start a little earlier, actually we started later than usual, but I usually don't start shows this early if it's a late night show. I had to watch Nitro last night. And I watched Nitro right before I watched Raw. And like when I was done with Nitro, I had to start watching Raw or I would never do the show with Dave. But I had to go downstairs and I had to like chill out for a while. I was so ruined by that Nitro show. And then I had to immediately watch Raw. And I could tell you motherfuckers, by the way, in a million years, there is absolutely no way that modern Raw is worse than Nitro. I watched them back to back.
Yes.
And this Nitro was 10 times worse than Raw. 10 times worse, easy. Maybe 20 or 30. It was horrible.
Very clean show.
God damn.
WCW Monday Nitro, number 248, also June 19th of the year 2000.
Love that heavy sigh.
They showed a recap of what happened on Thunder.
Is that what this was?
It looked like a wretched show. Where
I assumed this was a recap segment.
Like 1,000 things happened.
Yes.
It was like a WWE video that would recap like a month of action at a pay-per-view.
Yes,
like,
actually.
Hey, we got Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin. Here's what happened in the last month. This wasn't even a week.
No, this is one show.
It was half a week.
2 hours. So, Nash is stalking Russo and threatening to kill him. Daphne apparently dumped David. The Steiners reunited. Vampiro's fighting the demon. The triple threat is now a thing in WCW. Scott Hall's contract, I wrote here being burned, although clearly that's not the case.
Nope.
Steiner put Russo in the recliner.
How did you get all of that?
I did go back at least once
Okay.
to see what I missed.
I'm lost.
Yeah. Limousines arrive. There's the Cat, there's Jeff Jarrett, there's Mike Awesome. So Cat explains Vince Russo was hurt badly by the Steiner recliner. Bischoff is tending to a big deal in L.A. So Cat is in charge tonight. He has
Their imminent demise.
under control, pretty much.
I don't know what this big deal could have been.
Maybe it's fucking fusions, actually.
Then security comes up and says, we have very bad problems in the ring. What are these bad problems?
Somebody's
well,
wrestling.
Horus is in the ring.
That is a problem.
He's not wrestling. He's sitting in a fucking chair.
So Horus is sitting in a chair. He's got a bat. He says, first the credits roll. Then they come back, then he does his promo. He says, last week, I saw a fly-by-night in this business destroy one of the men who built this business. Hollywood Hogan.
Who is the fly-by-night? I'm so lost.
Goldberg.
Oh, yeah. Goldberg.
So Horus
I feel like I missed 50 shows.
is cutting this promo about fighting on behalf of his departed Uncle Hollywood. No one points this out. No one calls attention to it, but I did notice Horus has shaved his body hair much like a mushroom cloud.
Yes.
In a tribute to Sterling Golden.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome. That may have been the best thing on this whole show. Goldberg, he says...
That's something Eric Bugenhagen should do.
Yes, actually.
If he happens to be listening.
Says, Goldberg, you're in this for money. I'm in this for family, for honor, for revenge. I am not leaving till I get Goldberg. Cat comes out, he says, Goldberg's too busy and he would kill your ass.
Well, he's not wrong.
He's not wrong with either of these things. Then the Cat, the heel commissioner, explains...
Is he a heel?
Yes.
I think,
I don't even know anymore.
as far as I know. He explains that since Scott Steiner laid out Vince Russo on Thunder, here on this show, there will be no outside interference.
Tonight. Not on every show.
No, just tonight.
Just tonight, there will be no outside interference. We've heard that before, by the way.
Yes.
Of course we have. More to the point, this was Cat's response to Scott Steiner attacking Vince Russo, which wasn't a match in the first place. And as far as I know,
Right.
maybe Steiner did run in on a Vince Russo match. And
Fuck
attack
if
him.
I know.
I hadn't thought of that.
I do know that he said that if anybody did interfere tonight, he said he would fine them and suspend them for 30 days, and they would have to clean the floors of his dojo.
Yes. If you bring your happy ass out here, he says.
Yes.
He announces he has Scott Hall's contract. This brings out Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash. They persuade the Cat to book Horus versus Goldberg tonight, so fine.
By the way, I wasn't here last week. They turned Goldberg heel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes no more
That
sense.
is the stupidest thing I have ever heard of in wrestling.
Yeah.
That's right up. I mean, he was the only thing people popped for, and they tried to turn him heel. It didn't work.
No, they did turn him heel.
Well, I understood. But
Yeah, no one liked it.
no, they were still popping for him even on this show.
Yes. I don't think they knew. I don't think these people watched the show.
That might be.
So let's see.
What are you doing over there?
Looking up what a guy's name we'll get to later. So let's see. Cat books Horus versus Goldberg. Steiner says, I want a match with you. Cat says, I'll give you a title match against Jeff Jarrett instead. Steiner says, okay. And Nash says, in that case, I want to wrestle you, Cat, with Scott Hall's contract on the line. If I beat you, I get Hall's contract.
Now, apparently, they just bring contracts with them on the road, the paperwork and everything.
Well, he's a new GM. He's got to have all that paperwork.
So what does that mean if I get his contract? Does that mean he's free? He can quit? Or
Dude, nobody even knows what's going on with Scott Hall. Like, none of the fans watching this show. Like, Scott Hall, if you're only a viewer of this show and you have no inside information, he's a guy who, like, sometimes he's there, then he's gone for a long time, then they say, like, he's in prison, and it's like, what the fuck are they... who is what? Like, what's going on with Scott Hall if you're just a viewer?
I don't know.
Nobody fucking knows.
I don't know. So I'm asking myself, if you're going to wrestle him and take his contract, why don't you just beat him up and get the contract now? And he goes to do this, and then Cat flees through the crowd And it looked like as he is fleeing, he threw on the brakes and grabbed a fan and attacked him, and they cut away.
Yes, I saw that too.
Well, we routed to make sure that was what I was seeing. As far as I can tell, that's what was going on.
Yeah, he reached back and proceeded to probably clobber this fan.
Yeah. I don't know. It was very weird. The announcers ramble on for a while.
So apparently last week, the announcers were all supposed to be shirtless, but Schiavone refused, and
Madden refused.
Well, Madden said, "I never make fun of Russo."
Yeah. Why would he punish
They were
me?
like, okay. So
Plus, he's already been shirtless on TV,
Scott was the only shirtless guy.
wearing a sweater.
So Palumbo and Stasiak are the production truck. They're saying something about a tape last week of them being attacked. I had no memory of this. They have a tape they want to play now, but Rick Steiner and Tank Abbott are watching them watch the tape on a monitor, and so when they come out of the truck, they attack them, and then they leave, and Palumbo and Stasiak get up, and that's the end.
You know what I just noticed here is that this show was worse than Modern Raw, but the two shows have something in common that I just now figured out.
They're horrible.
As we recap these shows, like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, and the show is just 2 hours of a bunch of shit happening.
Yes.
That's where Raw is now, except it's 3 hours. Like, the storylines don't necessarily carry over week to week. It's largely just a bunch of shit happens for 3 hours, and then the next week, a bunch of shit happens for 3 hours. Occasionally, like, something will make sense based on the week prior, but usually it doesn't. That's where we're at here with this show. I don't know what's going on here. I'm just recapping. Like, Jarrett came out next, and he's mad at Shat for putting him in a match. Like, I don't even remember what match they signed. They just announced it like 5 minutes ago, but so much shit's happening, I don't care. And if I don't care, I ain't gonna remember. Shat says Mike Awesome is ref. Like, what? Why?
To be a heel ref, this is important, actually. Mike Awesome is the ref to be a heel ref and help Jeff Jarrett win.
Okay, so Mike Awesome's a heel.
Yes.
Like, even that, I don't even know who's what anymore.
That's very hard to tell sometimes.
We have Young Dragons versus 3 Count, and they just, like, do a bunch of moves.
Yes.
And the only thing notable is suddenly there's Lance Storm.
Yes.
Now, listen, okay? I realize Lance is one of my best friends, okay? But even if he wasn't, like, if you don't believe me, if you think I'm only saying this because he's my friend, you have to watch this fucking debut.
That's pretty great.
This guy runs in through the crowd. He does a springboard drop kick into the ring, and he goes like 30 feet in the air.
Yes.
He does another drop kick in the ring that looks like Okada.
Yeah.
He does a giant flip dive to the outside, and this is all in his fucking street clothes.
Yeah, he's really Tommy Hilfiger.
He jumps in the air cheering. He leaps over the barricade in the crowd. I watched and I was like, I didn't recognize this at the time. But looking back 20 years, he was like the best athlete in the whole company.
Yeah.
Who in this company was a better athlete than Lance Storm?
At this time, nobody.
I mean, even like Ray had no knees.
Prime Ray may have been, but that was 5 years ago.
I mean, I watched this and I went, holy fuck!
Yes.
What the fuck?
Lance could jump. I remember Lance doing springboards and, of course, the drop kick and spin kicks. I have forgotten his flip dives.
Well, I also, for those of you who think that I only say this because he's my friend, I also remember, before I ever had spoken to Lance one time in my life, I went to a house show in Seattle or Everett or somewhere, and I think he was facing Bob Hawley. I'm not sure who he was facing. But
Frankly, he's got a great drop kick, too. But
did the greatest drop kick I'd ever seen in my life in this match.
Yeah.
He leaped 30. It was like an Okada drop kick. He leaped 30 feet in the air, and I was a worker, so like I knew he didn't even touch the guy.
Yeah.
But he stretched out, and there was a sound, and it was the greatest drop kick I'd ever seen live in my life. Mm-hmm. Whatever happened to this guy?
This was actually a highlight of the show.
It was the highlight of the show.
It was. You didn't let me finish. It was like, it looked important. It looked like something that, oh, wow, I got to keep my eye on this guy. And it's Lance. That's no knock, but... Sorry, Lance.
He's going to kill you. He's going to kill you with death.
It was this new guy that...
Wait, you see this dropkick, Brian.
Let me back up just a little bit. It was Lance coming
I'm
from
not editing
ECW.
this off the show. This is staying on.
Whatever.
Oh, God.
But yes.
It looked important, and this was a new guy that came from ECW, and like probably 3/4 of the audience had no clue.
They didn't bother telling you any of that.
That's true.
The guy had a flat top and jeans and a sweatshirt.
Yeah, some dude just ran in.
Right.
It was Montana.
Some Olympian hit the ring.
So, in hindsight, were debuts the best thing Lance ever did?
It may have been.
He started the invasion. He was great here. The Thrill Seekers were a house of fire when they showed up in Smoky Mountain. I don't know how he did in ECW when he showed up.
He was a great debuter.
He was a fantastic debuter. He made an immediate impression. So, some stuff you missed there. That meeting with Jarrett where he made Austin special ref.
Are we really going back to all this shit?
The security guard who tells Kat... There's a security guard there who tells Kat, the crowd is restless. They want a match. At this point, the crowd goes, yay! We are restless. We do want a match. Security guard, by the way, is that the Colorado kid?
It may have been. I wasn't paying attention.
I believe this man is NWA World Champion like 3 months after the show. So the Cat says, put 3 count in the ring. They do the 3 count Young Dragons thing. And it's a cool bunch of moves, this 3 count Young Dragons. It is total nonstop action. And then 3 count wins with a triple face buster, and Lance kills them all.
Goldberg arrived. David's looking for Daphne.
David can't find Daphne.
Tenay interviews Horus. His fucking question, he's a man ahead of his time. Are you crazy? Horus says, no, I'm not crazy. I will destroy the man who destroyed my Uncle Hulk Hogan. That was actually good.
I thought Horus
it was a decent promo.
Horus did a good promo here. Big Vito versus Johnny the Bull for the hardcore title.
Just went forever.
Mama Luke's broke up on Thunder, if you're wondering.
Looks totally outdated.
They were all backstage. They hit each other with shit. They randomly crawl on some scaffolding. They go through a table, and Vito wins. The Cat is going through his papers. He finds Scott Hall's contract.
So Johnny the Bull's being helped out, and up walks Terry Funk. So last week on this show, I said, because they did the Terry Funk versus Big Vito match, and Big Vito beat him up and beat him and won.
It was good.
And I thought, fuck, of all the people to pass the torch to, it's fucking Vito. And of course, the obvious answer is because it's Russo's buddy Vito. But, so not only is the man who Terry Funk passed the torch to Big Vito, but now Funk is going to get a young protege, and it's Johnny the Bull.
Yeah.
Who is writing this shit?
All I know is it leads to Johnny the Bull tearing his urethra.
Is that this feud?
Breaking his ass?
I
believe so.
And he did the leg drop to Terry Funk, as I remember.
His mentor.
Right.
What?
Well, I don't know. I would just say I don't see anyone in this roster who screams that guy should have been Terry Funk's protege.
No.
I don't know who he would be if you said, if you determine we are going to
Huge
do...
erection?
No.
It's a hardcore dude.
Sure.
Sounds like it. So this next segment, I will just read my notes. Chavo Guerrero is looking for the Misfits when he is attacked by Ray Jr. and the Artist until G.I. Bro saves. What the hell is this?
What this is what I wrote here. This show sucks. Thank you.
G.I. Bro then does a promo with the Misfits. Says it's time to get serious.
Gives them all new names.
Why start now?
All
It's
the
like
baby faces
NXT.
are out. He says Hulk Hogan got put through a table last week. Flair's bald and retired. Sting is burned up all to hell. That's what he said. Burned up all to hell. So y'all got to watch each other's back.
Well, if you watch the pay-per-view, that is exactly what happened. He was burned up and thrown off the fucking Titantron to hell.
Hell. He promotes Captain Rection to General Rection. Says, I've got business tonight. And looks at a monitor. Positively, Canyon's come out and says, this is my business. And he leaves. So Canyon's mocking DDP's entrance. He plugs his fake book. Issues an open challenge. G.I. Bro accepts the challenge. Now,
It was an open challenge for a fight, but not a match.
there's no match here, just a fight.
What the fuck?
I don't know if Booker at this point knew what was going to go down at the Bash of the Beach, but he sure was motivated and looked awesome tonight. He destroys Canyon in a squash fight. He tears his camo pants off to reveal Booker T's wrestling trunks. Canyon flees, and that's it. But Booker looked awesome here.
It was great.
I read somewhere that Kimberly's last week was last week.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people's last week coming up.
She's going, yeah.
That's sad.
David is backstage. Here's where I noticed he appeared to be wearing a shirt that was 8 sizes too big for Scott Steiner. Just flowing around him like a sail. He finds Daphne, who slaps him and has nothing else to say. Horus mutters about Goldberg. Goldberg mutters about Horus. We get Horus versus Goldberg. They cut backstage to show Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner watching. Scott's like, let's go interfere. And Nash says, let's wait.
Because that's what Kevin Nash would do.
He would wait.
None of the fans knew they were supposed to boo Goldberg.
No.
Or they didn't care.
No one knew or cared. And if you didn't know anything and you just watched this match, you would cheer for Goldberg.
Sure.
Well, yeah.
He kicked his ass forever. He only got cut off because he missed a punch and hit the post. Horus immediately starts to cheat and hit him with a chair over and over again. And Goldberg no-sells it, hits his moves, and wins.
Yeah.
Why would anyone boo Goldberg here?
You know, I watched the show on Saturday. Today's Tuesday, so I don't remember exactly what happened in this segment, but I'll read my notes and you can translate. Nash tells Steiner not to fuck Medeja too vigorously. Does that happen?
He did not use exact words. That's not a quote.
Okay.
But it's the message he implied.
Okay. Just checking.
Nash said, maybe this no interference rule will work to our advantage. I don't know what he meant by that. He goes to leave. He points to Steiner and Medeja and says, make sure you have some energy for the match.
So I was right.
Yes.
Okay.
The Cat handcuffs a briefcase to his wrist. Then he comes out and handcuffs it to Mark Madden's wrist. So it's Cat versus Kevin Nash. It's much like Kane versus the Hardys, except much slower and worse. Nash just beats him forever, won't sell anything, or doesn't sell anything. It's very slow. Every time the Cat tries to call for help for interference, Nash interrupts him with a violent blow. There's a bunch of nut shots in front of the ref. It's not a DQ, and Nash ignores all of this, hits a powerbomb, and wins.
So the gimmick here is that the briefcase is supposed to hold the contract of Scott Hall.
That was the idea, yeah.
So Nash wins. He gets the briefcase, and he opens it up, and there's 8x10s of the Shat.
Yeah.
Okay, Shat had 8x10s?
I believe that.
That's the funniest thing on the show. He probably still has the same stack today.
Sure.
So Nash is unhappy, obviously, and Goldberg appears on the big screen. He's got the contract, and they set up Goldberg versus Nash with all his career on the line at Bash at the Beach. So they fucked you on a stipulation to convince you to buy a pay-per-view to see another stipulation.
Yes. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. And then Goldberg ate the contract that apparently is going to be on the line of the pay-per-view.
Now, I will add that WWE has done the same fucking thing on Raw for 4 straight weeks now. They promise you something on every show and don't deliver. So we are entering WCW territory here in 2019.
I've still got this Colorado Kid Wikipedia page open.
Oh, Christ. Artist versus Ray versus Lieutenant Loco.
He once had a tag team partner named the Scuffling Hillbilly.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's important.
That was a tag team, the Scuffling Hillbillies.
That's important that I interrupt you, Brian, and let the world know this.
Yeah.
Tenay interviews Nash, who just notes July 9th is Bash at the Beach. It's his birthday. He's got a place at Daytona Beach. He's the only guy who's ever beaten Goldberg. He'll do it again with Scott Hall's contract at the line. Scott will show up. He's only 40 minutes away. They'll throw a big party. So Tenay asks Steiner something about Jarrett being the chosen one. And Steiner's response is, I've got the largest arms. I'm the chosen one. Some fine Scott Steiner logic. Also, Jarrett can kiss his ass. You get Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Lieutenant Loco versus the Artist. And the real star of this segment, the Juice.
Yeah, the Juice is loose doing commentary, baby.
He's so awesomely terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He dubs the Misfits in action. They should have called themselves the New Jabroni Order.
Is that the real MIA music, or is that a dub?
No, this is a dub.
Fuck, it's horrible.
It's absolutely god-awful.
Jesus, God almighty, it's terrible. You can find some knockoff military music.
Apparently not. But
they can't get the song that the Russian assassin came out to.
That would be fantastic.
I realize it's the wrong military, but fuck, that'd be a cool song.
That song is never wrong for anyone. So Hoovy dubs them the New Jabroni Order. When they ask why, he says, they suck. They don't have talent. They don't have skill. They don't have juice. As a matter of fact, they suck. This is great commentary. So it goes like 3 minutes. Chavo pins the Artist with a tornado DDT, and then the women all fight. Also, there was some hootie-hooing here. I guess that's back.
Ugh. Oh, good. Some hootie-hooing.
Yeah.
Okay.
David offers a bouquet of black flowers to Daphne. Much like Eddie carries around a puppy, David Flair carries around black flowers in case Daphne's ever mad at him. It worked, and they embraced, and he carried her away. So then he's leading her outside. She stops and says, "Wait, my shoe's untied." He says, "Don't worry, we'll take care of it later." Why was this on TV? I don't know.
I don't know.
He puts her in a car, says, "You go to the hotel, you get ready, I'll be there soon." And he turns and walks away. And I don't know if you're supposed to see this or not, but the car begins to drive, it goes 4 feet, and it slams on the brakes. So David turns the corner. There's Miss Hancock. They start making out. And Daphne is now out of the car. She still has her black flowers, but she sees David making out with Hancock on a monitor, and she is sad. The perfect event.
Who are the World Tag Team Champions?
We are told.
Yeah.
We are told these men are the World Tag Team Champions. They have never won a match.
Okay.
Chuck Palumbo, by
Your
the
tag
way.
division sucks.
Chuck Palumbo, by the way, lives and dies by it's an upper body business. He's got huge shoulders, huge chest, no calves. 0.
It's Craig making fun of Chuck Palumbo's physique, everybody.
I didn't say anything, Vinny.
I'm just telling you, look at his calves. They're non-existent.
So, let's see. Perfect event versus Tank Abbott and Rick Steiner.
Oh, what a match.
Tank sees a fan who has a sign reading 3 count sucks. So he chases this fan through the building.
Why? Is he in 3 count now?
Foreshadowing.
This goes somewhere, Brian.
Well, I know it goes somewhere, but is he there yet?
No.
I mean,
This is how it starts.
Vinny, you act like it's impossible we missed 30 angles.
He's got.
They could very easily be a team on Thunder
I'm answering your question.
for 6 months. Okay.
The question is no, Brian. This is how it starts.
Thank you.
The answer is this is how it starts. Rick is confused, but he makes a big comeback, hits a bunch of suplexes, and then Palumbo hits him with the Lex Flexor. They pin him with a double flapjack. The World Tag Team Champions now have a win. The Demon is meeting with Asia.
Oh, my God. I actually wrote here, I have no idea what's going on.
Why would you?
But I actually knew what was going on because, believe it or not, I invented a scenario in my own head, and I was right.
Ah,
So Dale Torborg, that's the demon.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Dale Torborg goes crazy whenever he puts the demon outfit on.
He gets possessed.
But he doesn't like going crazy.
No.
And so he's telling Asia, who I didn't know was his fiancée in my booking, but apparently they're going to get married.
Sure.
That was not explained here.
What? So anyway, no, they did mention that Asia's his fiancée.
Later.
Well, yeah. But anyway, so he wants her to burn the outfit.
Yes.
I'm like, can't you burn the fucking outfit? You have no control over fire?
He can't bring himself to do it.
Oh, Christ. This show sucks.
They keep saying it's his fault, and we can't have a normal life until he gets put away.
Then Vamp comes out, and he attempts to explain this fucking storyline.
First of all, even before that, while I'm watching, it's not even Dale Torborg yet. It's the demon without his makeup. And Asia.
Dale
Who have
Torborg.
Did they call him Dale at this point?
He's Dale Torborg.
Well, I know that, but I don't
No,
think...
that's what they called him.
Later.
Well, whatever.
In this segment, he's just the demon with no makeup.
Yes.
And he gives his gear to Asia, says, "Get rid of this," and he walks away, and she's standing there, awkward paws holding the gear. They cut to Vampiro watching this on a monitor, and Vampiro was twice as confused as you and I are.
Yes.
He's bewildered. He's trembling. He's like, what the fuck? What show am I on?
Well, he's confused because he doesn't want Dale to get rid of the demon gimmick.
So then Vampiro comes out for a promo. And yes, as Brian notes, Vampiro tries to explain this. Dale Torborg, he says. Making those R's as hard as he can get them out there. Dale Torborg. And your fiance Asia says... Well, he comes out. They're talking about Dale Torborg and Asia. And there was some shit on Thunder where the demon... This is the announcer's exact words. Robbed Vampiro of his virgin soul.
Excuse me.
Whoa.
He robbed Vampiro of his virgin soul.
How does your soul lose its virginity?
I'll let you know.
You will?
I don't know. So...
I wasn't asking you.
I don't have an answer.
Okay.
Vampiro says he thought he had a lot in common with the demon. Now the demon's going away. So let's have a party. So Dale the Demon Torborg and your beautiful, lovely, charismatic, force of nature fiance Asia.
I think he was taking a shot.
I think he was. Will the beautiful couple please come out? I think Vampiro like legit hates everyone.
Yes.
And hates working with everyone. And lets you know as a viewer he hates working with everyone.
He's Raven.
Even more bitter. Raven has some friends.
All right.
Vampiro, based on what I see on TV, hates everyone.
The
So,
feeling is mutual.
well, it may well be. Asia and Dale come out, and the lights go out.
Ugh.
Asia disappears.
Are we done with this segment yet? There was an explosion and she vanished.
Vampiro says, "Doesn't it feel empty when a part of yourself goes away?"
Yeah, when it blows up. This show sucks.
Didn't blow up.
Yeah, she did. There was a fucking explosion and she was gone. What, she vanished?
Yes.
Okay, of the two options, her blowing up in the explosion is more realistic than her vanishing.
We witnessed a murder watching Nitro.
Well, maybe an accident.
Sure.
Because Vampiro also exploded.
What's the
by his
alternative?
logic.
We witnessed real magic?
Yes. On this show, dude.
You're
You've got me
arguing
there.
this.
I wouldn't say that I'm arguing it.
Then I wrote in all bold, more shit happens. What did I miss here? What did I gloss over because I hate this show? I hate it. It's horrible.
Thanks, Brian.
Vampiro also exploded. That's what happened.
Excuse me?
Well, based on your logic,
It was a murder-suicide.
there was a boom,
Yes.
and the lights went out when they came back. Asia was gone.
Fuck.
So you said she exploded. The same thing happened to Vampiro.
The show's killing me.
I can only conclude he also exploded.
Okay. Well, that feud's over. What about Dale Torborg?
All alone. Wife blew up. Steiner is backstage. Like, he's supposed to just go do some curls to warm up. We'll film you. And he's got the cables, the stretchy cords.
Yes.
And he just walks in this hallway. He gets them, and he's like, "All right, now." And he's cut away. Mm-hmm. The triple threat go for a walk. Buff Bagwell and Chronic go for a walk. Mm-hmm. What?
Fuck if I know.
So here's the next match, everyone. It's Buff Bagwell and Chronic versus the triple threat, which would all be fine, except Chris Candido is on the apron with his arm in a sling.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not Chronic versus the other two with Buff at ringside. No.
No.
It's a trios match with one guy with one arm.
Great.
So they do this match. The one-armed dude hits the ring, hits guys with a weapon, runs away. They
You
both
gonna make
chase him
it?
out. I've already given
You're
up.
sweating profusely. You look like Shane McMahon
I'm
cutting a promo.
I'm sweating and weeping at the same time.
Okay.
So Chronic chases Candido to the back. Buff pins Bam Bam with a blockbuster. I guess it's a clean pin. Shane lays out Buff afterwards. Chronic comes back to save.
I can't keep reviewing this show. I'm losing steam every week.
Jeff Jarrett and Mike Awesome go for a walk. Scott Steiner and Medeja go
Why
for a
is
walk.
everyone always going for a fucking walk?
Gotta stay fit.
It's Nitro. You gotta stay sane somehow. Jeff Jarrett versus Scott Steiner for the title with Mike Awesome as ref and the cat on commentary.
God damn, are we at the main event?
We are.
Oh, I can't believe it.
The end's in sight. You're going to make it. Steiner does a pre-match promo where he says the cat sucks. If he wants to be a good commissioner, he should do different steps such as panties on a pole or a freak on a leash match. And he can't leave that alone. He must clarify. Scott Steiner said on TV with a live mic, quote, "If you catch her, she's got to spread them."
He can't help himself.
What? Okay. Doing this match, Medeja interferes. Cat calls her a hoochie. Hudson says, "That's not a hoochie, that's a freak." So, they're doing this match. The best part of this match, by the way, Jarrett just grabs Scott Steiner and does a belly-to-back suplex. Scott jumps, Jarrett grabs him around the waist and tosses him back. Jarrett sits up and just shouts, "I just suplexed Scott Steiner."
That was good.
Jeff Jarrett sometimes is just great.
Hey, listen, let's do the good and the bad, okay? The bad is I cannot get over that Jeff Jarrett is the WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Okay.
Like, Jeff Jarrett is the WCW World Heavyweight Champion.
Yes.
It's been 2 decades, Brian.
Fucking Goldberg is there, and Scott Steiner's there, and I could go on and on.
Yes.
I understand.
So, the good news is they had a match in the main event.
He did.
Rarely do we get that on Nitro. They actually had a wrestling match that went minutes on end.
8 or 9 minutes, yeah.
Scott Steiner made a babyface comeback, which is absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And then I don't know what happened from there. I mean,
So Awesome's calling
actually, I got to, you know what? Let me do this because I wrote "get this finish." Okay, I don't remember the finish, but it must have meant something to me because I wrote, get this finish. Jeff went for the stroke, but Steiner just shoved him down and put him in the recliner.
Yes.
That actually was cool, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Shat demanded Awesome break the hold by any means necessary. Awesome waffled him with a chair shot. Jarrett covered, but Steiner kicked out. Awesome and Jarrett double-teamed Steiner. He made his own comeback. Steiner suplexed Awesome, put him in the recliner. Jarrett broke it up with a guitar shot, made the cover. Awesome countered the pin.
Yep.
I don't know why I wrote get this finish.
Well, it was a lot.
It's ridiculous.
Mostly it's the fact that Mike Awesome called this whole match perfectly fair.
Right.
He was counting even for both guys. He scolded Jarrett when he hit a low blow, which makes him a better ref than the other guy for the Cats match. Finally, Cat orders Awesome to hit a chair shot, so he does. He's been ordered to by his boss. He's still counting pins cleanly. Then he jumps up and starts to put the boots to Steiner. It made no sense. So Jarrett wins. The Cat...
There was a great moment. Shat hits the ring after the win, and he begins to do a kata.
Says, I'm going to kick your ass, Scott Steiner.
He starts to do a kata, and Steiner grabs him and gives an overhead belly to belly.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yes. Goldberg appears, spears Scott to death. Just speared the hell out of him. They're all beating up Steiner when Kevin Nash's music hits and Big Sexy comes a-running.
Conquering hero.
People are pelting the ring with garbage.
Can we talk about how funny it is to watch Kevin Nash run?
It is pretty funny.
He's not graceful.
He is not a runner.
No.
At this stage.
If ever.
So the show is exhausting, I wrote. I'm over WCW. Is there any chance it actually ends next week?
There's no chance.
Okay.
We still have like 9 months to go.
Oh. So, it's a bad show.
Yeah, thumbs down in case you're curious.
And
we do not made this clear. We do not recommend watching the show.
I still can't believe, okay? I still can't believe that when I originally watched this 19 years ago, Scott Steiner was a babyface and Goldberg was a heel. Did that really happen? There's no way that really happened.
That is our timeline.
I wrote a book about this. I need to go back and find out if what I wrote in the book was different than what I'm watching here. Because I don't think this happened.
It is weird. It is hard to process.
Again, they made Goldberg a heel.
Yeah.
I remember that, but like...
So dumb.
I just can't believe that I'm watching a feud where Scott Steiner is the babyface and Goldberg is the heel.
There is that too.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on here, and none of it is good.
Well, Vinny, here you go.
The finishes on this show were clean pin in a trios match, decisive finish in a hardcore match, clean pin, clean pin, clean pin in a three-way, pin after shot with a Lex Flexor, more or less clean pin in a trios match, and then pin after giant reeking mounds of bullshit.
Just think about all the other things that we could be reviewing. Like, we could have started with New Japan.
You start bringing this up, people get very upset about what we're not reviewing.
2012, or,
Yeah.
you know, SmackDown from the beginning, which was at least the boom period. Or more of this NWA. Maybe watch all the pay-per-views.
They just put a bunch of Mid-Atlantic up.
Mid-Atlantic, the great. We're watching fucking Nitro. Why are we doing this?
It was your idea.
Yeah, it was my idea when it was good.
We suggested many times quitting. You said, no, we have to follow it through.
Yes.
People will be very disappointed if we do not complete the story at this point.
Do you know that when I was a little boy,
Yesterday.
Very little.
when I was a little boy, which, by the way, I don't know why, but Paisley always tells me what I did when I was a little boy. It's really weird.
Is she right?
No.
Oh.
But, like, if I say...
Well, that's not cool then.
If I say, like, let's ride this carousel at the beach, she'll say, when Daddy was a little boy, he rode this carousel.
Oh.
And I'm like, yes, I did. I think it makes her feel comfortable to think that I also did this when I was
She
little.
wants to be like what she thinks you were like.
Yes. But anyway.
You should be flattered.
Anyway, the point of this is, what was I talking about?
I don't know.
I forgot my point.
You were a little boy.
What were we talking about?
Little
Don't make
boys.
me rewind this. What were we talking about?
Nitro and how much it sucks and the other
I
shows
had
you
a
watch.
point to all of this. God damn it, am I losing my mind?
19 years ago.
I've been on vacation.
You were watching Steiner and Goldberg. You couldn't believe.
Nah, later than that.
wrote a book.
Help me, Rob. You don't even have a mic.
Here, hold my...
What was I talking about?
I don't know.
God damn it. Who can remind me what I was talking about?
I just did.
I was a little boy. Okay, something when I was a little boy.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Is it this important? Can we go home?
Yes, no, it's very important.
I want to go home.
No, we haven't hit a 111 yet anyway. So, okay, hold on a second. God damn, I listened back. I have no idea what I was trying to say.
You're not a little boy anymore.
When I was a little
We
boy,
can curse at you.
somebody screwed up and said, "You mean a few minutes ago?" Who was that? You! I was a little boy.
I said yes.
I'm watching these old shows. We're watching these old Nitros. Could be watching something else.
Right.
This must not have been that important.
Guess not.
Anything else, Vinny? What'd you do this week?
A lot.
Tell us about it.
We had a Father's Day brunch. I left that to go to a wedding in Bremerton. A lovely time was had. I've been trying to remember. I was busy on Saturday. I don't remember what I did. No,
See, I don't remember what I did when I was a little boy. You can't even remember Saturday.
I don't remember 3 days ago. But I remember being busy.
Are we all losing our minds?
I never claimed to have one.
Nope.
When I was a little boy, I did something that I wanted to talk about here on this show. And now I can't remember what I was going to say. Because I got distracted by Paisley telling me what I did when I was a little boy, even though I didn't. Can you help me, Rob?
I can't, but I do have a new contest for Granny's show.
Okay, give him the mic.
Like I said, we need to have the contest.
You have to hold it for him.
God bless it. We can have the contest for Thursday's show, being that people can figure out what it was that you forgot.
Yeah, what did I do when I was a little boy that I was going to talk about here on this show? It had to do with things that we were going to review. You know what I'm saying?
Star Blazers.
That's it!
What?
How did you know?
Because the only thing you and I have in common in our childhood is Star Blazers.
Okay.
And the motion wave gun?
God damn it, this is what I was going to say.
Space Cruiser, your
When
mother.
I was
yes.
a little boy, okay,
All right.
I think I've told this story before.
I'm down.
When I was a little boy, every day before school, Star Blazers came on.
7:30.
Yep, 7:30 a.m. Star Blazers came on.
KST, Washington.
I would watch it right before I went to school.
Absolutely.
Okay? So I started with Star Blazers Episode 1.
Sure.
Okay? You following me?
Put it that way, it sounds funny. But
Then I went to Star Blazers Episode 2,
Okay.
Episode 3, Episode 4. Okay?
So-
I don't know how many episodes there were.
There was 2 seasons.
But for some fucking reason, I never saw the final episode.
What?
Like, every time the final episode was going to be on, I was, like, sick, or we were on vacation. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened in any of them. It's been so long ago. But I never saw the final episode.
don't go back and watch them.
The
Oh,
point
don't
of
do it.
this
They're good.
is...
No, they're not.
I got some.
The point of this is, I never saw the final episode. We don't have to keep going on this. That's the point I was trying to make.
I am down with reviewing Star Blazers.
Okay. We can stop watching WCW and watch Star Blazers.
Watch from the beginning.
I could watch that. I guarantee no matter what you say, it's better than Nitro.
Okay, I'll give you
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
I'll give you that.
WCW Monday Nitro number 249. Also, June 26th of the year 2000.
It's one of those things where, like, as we watch it now, every week it's like, oh, there's something new.
There is.
Oh, Lance Storm debuted this week. Oh, Tank Abbott's part of 3 Count. Like, every week there's something new.
Yes.
Like, about, I don't know, 6 months ago, we were running down all of the different things that were going to happen in WCW between now and the company going under. And it was only like a year.
Yeah.
It's like, holy fuck, there's like 9 million things. Well, that's because 8 of them happen on every fucking show.
That's exactly right.
For 40 weeks.
Yes. So, we get our Thunder recap video. Brace yourselves.
I can't believe you write this shit down. It's inconceivable.
Well, I write it down to point out how convoluted and incomprehensible it is.
I see.
Rick Steiner dumps Tank Abbott. Vampiro has kidnapped Asia and is torturing Dale.
Vampiro?
Vampiro has kidnapped Asia and is torturing Dale. David Flair is leading Daphne along. Tank is marking up for 3 count. Goldberg just wants to kill people. He doesn't like Nash's games or attitude, how is he a heel? I don't know. The Cat books Mike Awesome and Jeff Jarrett versus Kevin Nash and Scott Steiner. We never see a clip of that match. We do see a clip of the Nitro from before that, and that's it.
Yeah, that was weird. Why did we have that
Weird?
random clip?
That was insane. The limo driver arrives with the Cat. The limo driver, we have not mentioned this, it's Ice Train with a new name. He's Smooth. Mm-hmm. And Smooth convinces the Cat to make a main event, and the Cat's very happy and says they're going to be rich.
They're going to be rich.
Ratings equal money, the cat says.
Yeah.
You know what equals money in the year 1999 and 2000?
Pay-per-view buys?
Money.
Oh.
They weren't making any.
Oh.
Ratings didn't mean jack shit back then.
So Cat comes out for a promo. First, he promises that Jarrett will defend his belt against Old Man Hogan at Bash at the Beach. And I thought, Old Man Hogan would be a great name for a wrestler. Here comes Old Man Hogan and beat some ass.
Paisley always has to go to Old McDonald's.
Sure. So Goldberg's going to wipe the mat with Nash. For tonight, keep in mind he already plugged a Jeff Jarrett world title defense at Bash at the Beach. A 4-corner world title match will main event this show. Jarrett will be one of the 4. The other 3 spots will be filled by qualifiers. First, Kevin Nash versus Mike Awesome. Second, Scott Steiner versus Shane Douglas. And for the fourth spot, Goldberg will get a bye. At this point, out comes the most unexpected hero I think I've ever seen. The hero of 2000, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Still got his janitor's gear on.
He's got his beard and his board and his voice, and he's still Hacksaw.
By the way, how did you get all that out of that Shat promo?
I paid very close attention.
I tried, and he mumbled his way through this entire fucking
There's
thing.
a point where I wrote down, we'll get to it at the end here. I wrote down what he said, and like 5 times I couldn't understand it, and then as I wrote, I could kind of hear it phonetically what he was trying to say.
I wrote, he signs Nash versus Mike Awesome, I think. Steiner versus franchise, I think. Goldberg gets a bye. Is it that hard to do a 30-second fucking Goldberg squash for the people? I realize he's a heel, but Jesus Christ. And I don't even know who the 4th person was supposed to be. I guess it was Jarrett,
Yeah,
right?
Jarrett was put into the match.
Yeah.
Then out comes Hacksaw.
Who cuts the most amazing babyface promo?
Yes.
Dude, I said 95% because I didn't want to have that much wrath from these WWE wackos. But this was a better promo than anybody's cut in the year 2019 in WWE.
I would think so.
He was the most fucking incredible, sympathetic, amazing
Courageous,
babyface.
Heroic, admirable, likable.
It was incredible.
I was moved.
He is sick of what Cat, Russo, and Bischoff have done to the WCW. They can't play with people like they're pawns, like their lives don't matter. He admits the good guys have taken a beating. Hogan and Sting are hurt. Flair's retired. But others will step forward. Hacksaw will step forward. Asks what they've done to Bill Goldberg. Used to be a big fan of Bill Goldberg, but now he's half the man he used to be. At which point the Cat said, if Goldberg is half the man, that means he have to ass. And I'm going to see if you can whip it tonight. And I listened to that like 10 times trying to translate it. I eventually figured out it meant, if Goldberg is half the man, that means he has half the ass.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. Because what I heard was, he have to ass.
He have to ass.
He have to ass.
He have to ass.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to figure that out. Duggan says, I've had my health problems, but a man's got to do what a man's got to do, and by God, you've got me in Goldberg. Hacksaw Duggan was interstellar here.
He was the best.
He was unbelievable.
It's so sad that he was so old. It's so sad that he's so old now.
That's true.
If a guy like this
he's
came
older.
along now, he may as well just be the guy in WWE. I've
That's
never seen a babyface like
actually
this.
a great point.
He was the best babyface of all time on this show.
So the announcers are rambling about whatever, and suddenly they cut backstage to Vampiro, who appears to be hotboxing, as best I can tell.
Dude, he was like Shane McMahon. He was gasping for air as he did a promo backstage.
Well, there was all this smog and smoke around him. He was probably in a fog machine, which isn't fun.
He's telling Dale to embrace...
Dale Torborg.
Yeah.
That's the demon.
Yeah.
What did he call him last week?
Dale Torborg.
Very, very hard R's.
Dale Torborg. He's Canadian.
He wants to have Vampiro. Oh, he's Canadian, yeah, right. Dale, or Vampiro, wants it to be 3 men. Him, Dale, and the demon. And only one will walk out.
Right.
Does he know how this works?
I don't know. Do I know how it works? I don't know what's going on
He
anymore.
wants Dale and the demon?
He wants to bring the demon out of Dale.
So he wants the demon.
So Dale and Asia are watching this on a monitor, and Dale promises he's going to end this.
So I watched this back multiple times to make sure that I was...
Why?
No, not this. This next segment.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Shane Douglas shows up.
Yes.
And there's a ref there. Hey, how you doing, brother? Is that the mattress tonight? And he looks at the match and he goes, Scott Steiner? What the fuck? And he storms off.
Yes.
He got what the fuck on TV.
I
mean, quite frankly, if I saw the lineup and it was me and Scott Steiner, I'd probably
Yes.
say what the fuck too. But
It's fair.
I think he thought he'd be more away from... Because he started to walk away as he said it. And I think he thought he'd be off mic by the time he got to fuck.
well, he was right on mic.
No.
He walked right into that. He ate the microphone as he said fuck.
So
He deep-throated it.
Excuse me.
You heard me.
Okay.
Positively Canyon is doing a book signing and nobody is there.
Oh, my nightmare.
And he is sad. And he can't even give the books away to the security guys.
But luckily, I've got a plan.
This annoyed me at first, and then I realized kind of what happened. Because... Like, I couldn't figure out if he was supposed to be like an actual bookseller or what, but the idea is he's so arrogant, he booked his own book signing and told WCW to bring cameras. And then, like a fool, nobody showed up, but the cameras were already there. So, okay, that makes sense. Rey Mysterio and Juventud Guerrera facing the debuting team of Mark Jindrak and Sean O'Hare.
Yes. So Conan and Disco do a promo, and they bury Jindrak and O'Hare, and you look at them, and they're tall, generic-looking dudes with good bodies, and the first thing I wrote was, nobody ever learns in pro wrestling. Then they had a match, and granted, it was with Ray and Hoovy, but fuck, this was fine.
Yep.
It's good.
They look good, and I did like Sean O'Hare was a totally crazy dude.
Yeah.
He gave the most polite and gentle tag to his partner I've ever seen in pro wrestling.
I admire that.
Even Buddy would have told him to stiffen up. Ray and Hoovy do their best, and Jindrak and O'Hare got the pin. And even in June of 2000, when they have ruined this goddamn company, and they are less than a year away from going out of business, this still fucking meant something to these fans.
Yes.
And they went crazy for the upset.
It was two completely out of nowhere, bland, but still at the same time very impressive men. They looked 9 feet tall next to Ray and Hoovy. They're huge and ripped. They're obviously very athletic, both of them. And they won with Jindrak hit a tilt-a-whirl, I believe, and O'Hare hit the senton, and they had the pin, and place went crazy. Mm-hmm. And the Animals attacked, and Lance Storm made the save. Now,
Not quite as impressive as last week.
Well, first of all, last week he made the save in Tommy Hilfiger jeans, and I believe he said Shane Douglas' sweatshirt, or Chris Daniels, somebody.
Yes, Chris Daniels.
Chris Daniels. I don't know who he got these brown sweats from, but I hope he gave them back right away.
I just noticed that, last week he was running wild on the Young Dragons in 3-count, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
This time it was like Conan and guys. And I'm not sure who it was, but somebody crowded him on a super kick, and it was not a great super kick.
Yeah.
But he leaped and he dived and ran out through the crowd, and the people were into it. And it took me a long time to figure out who the fuck the filthy animals were chasing afterwards, but they were chasing Lance.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I got it.
So this is all fine and dandy. Goldberg arrives at the building. The filthy animals bitch to Cat. And I wrote here, I think the Cat sends them to get Lance.
That's what I wrote.
Yeah.
Shat wants someone's ass. Which I can't believe I just said, by the way.
Okay.
It's not wrong. Hacksaw Duggan met with a woman with giant white hair.
This was his wife.
Turns out
his
Mrs.
legit wife.
Mrs. Hacksaw.
She was fucking great.
I thought it was Ricky Morton at first. I'm not going to lie.
She's crying. What about our girls? You can't wrestle Goldberg. Says sometimes a man has to do what a man has to do. I love you. I love the children more than life itself, but I have to do this.
You got to understand this. They're alone backstage in the locker room.
Yes.
And when they start this thing, Hacksaw's laced up his boots. He's got glasses on. He at this point, he's not Hacksaw. He's James Duggan.
Yeah.
And when his wife comes in, who has been with him through all the ups and downs and the health problems and everything,
Bad haircuts.
a lot of those too.
Would you shut up? His poor wife.
Sorry.
I'm talking about
Jesus.
Hacksaw.
Both.
He pulls her close, Hacksaw does, and they go forehead to forehead, and he's whispering to her, I love you, and I love our girls more than life itself. This is something I got to do, and I think I might win. The best. He's a hero. He's such a great hero on the show.
He is. He's the best.
Vito calls himself the greatest hardcore champion in WCW history,
That ever lived.
which is a great line, because it's been like 2 months they've had this belt. Issues an open challenge, which is then answered by 3 men.
Yes.
The Young Dragons come out.
Yes.
It takes them a while, but they beat Vito up. There is no referee, so they count their own pin, and the announcers start to go crazy. This is a big win and a major upset. Okay, it's not a big win.
No.
There's 3 of them, And one of him.
Not only that, you issued an open challenge, but the title wasn't on the line, and there was no referee.
A non-title open challenge.
What in the fuck was this?
I don't know.
You know what it was? It was bullshit.
It was a lot of bullshit.
The show sucks.
This does not make me like Big Vito or the Young Dragons anymore. I'll just read what I wrote here. Terry Funk coaches Johnny the Bull by hitting him with a chair.
I wrote, Terry Funk is trying to get Johnny the Bull smartened up. This involves him hitting him with chairs.
I don't know if Terry Funk's ever actually trained anyone, but I bet he would hit them with a chair.
Yeah.
Probably part of it. I will read my notes again.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Here's a guy in the truck wearing an elephant hat. Stasiak and Palumbo kick him out.
As they should.
Okay. Douglas wants to get out of there. He goes up to Smooth. Smooth, he says, get me out of here. Smooth says, you can't go. You got a title shot tonight.
No. That's not what happened. He says, I don't want this match with Scott Steiner. I need to get out of here. Because M.I. Smooth is a limo driver. Mm-hmm. So he wants Smooth to just drive him away from Nitro to flee. What M.I. Smooth says is, if you leave, they'll fire you.
Did say that.
There's a pause and Shane goes, you're right. Smooth says, but I've got a plan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I got an idea.
Whispers. He whispers the plan. Keep in mind, Shane Douglas tried to quit like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's concerned he might get fired.
Well,
there was a point here before that part, though, Brian, where first Smooth tried to persuade him to stay by saying he had a title shot, and Shane says, oh, I'll have lots of title shots.
Yes. I got many title shots on the horizon.
Yes.
Filthy Animals are looking for someone, I wrote. I still couldn't figure out who they were fucking looking for.
They're looking for Lance. Disco explained, and Lance, I hope you're listening. Disco Inferno said that we know he's stupid because he's Canadian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I should have figured it out from that line.
Yeah.
They were playing Scooby and Shaggy right here. They were searching for Mr. Storm.
Yeah, but everyone was Scooby.
Carry on.
All right, so
Shane-
this segment here, let me explain this to everybody.
Right.
Douglas is backstage. He's pretending he twisted his ankle. Shat comes up. He doesn't care. He says, I need you to work. Shane says, what about Buff Bagwell? There's a pause, and Shat says, I got a better idea. What about Buff Bagwell versus Steiner? They're spoofing Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Got to convince Vince that he thought
It's his idea, yeah.
Yes.
So, yes, Kat says, I'll take Buff as your replacement, and franchise is happy, and he pays off Smooth with a shiny $100 bill. Tank is screaming at people backstage to get out of his way so we can watch on the monitor. This leads to 3 count coming out and dancing.
Okay, so after all this fucking time, they finally are using their music here on the show.
I think they introduced it here. I think they talked about them having a new song.
Ah, so this one's okay to use.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
So, 3 counts dancing, Tank is dancing, but then the music starts to get screwed up. It's slowing down, it's speeding up, it's all wacky.
So you're telling me that Stasiak and Palumbo came to Nitro and they had a plan,
Yeah.
and that was to mess up the performance of 3 count?
I'm not sure they had a plan, because they said, what do these buttons do? Let's start hitting
I
them.
see.
Their plan was to screw up Nitro.
Why was that their plan?
I don't know.
Okay.
Why do Stasiak and Palumbo do anything?
Well, they're the champions.
Why?
That I don't know either. You got me.
So, as the announcers called him Woody the Stooge, who was the guy in the elephant hat earlier, he goes to Tank and does in fact stooge off Palumbo and O'Hare. So Tank Abbott, who is one man, goes in this truck and grabs Palumbo and Stasiak, who are 2 men, grabs them by like the nose and the hair, and yanks them both outside. And they're 2 men and the tag champs, and they just get dragged out there. He drags them all the way down to the ring. Now, we go back to the ring. 3 count is still trying to dance. Their music is still getting fucked up, even though Palumbo and Stasiak are no longer messing with it. This makes no sense. They can't even do this stupid thing right. Tank Abbott then announces that Chuck Palumbo and Sean Stasiak, the World Tag Team Champions, will defend their belts right now against 3 count, and the match begins. And the announcers are like, fucking Tank Abbott can make matches? Apparently Tank Abbott can make matches. So it's 3 count versus the perfect event. And it's fine, but nobody cares. Maybe because all 5 of these guys are treated like complete geeks every single week in the show. A direct line from the commentators is talking about Stasiak and Palumbo. They only have like 1 or 2 wins in their title defenses. So 3 count has the win at one point. but Palumbo hits Helms with the Lex Flexor, and they hit a double flapjack, and they get the win. So now they have 2 or 3 wins as tag champions. Chronic comes out, destroys the perfect event. Free Count starts to dance again. Chronic kills them too, or they go to, but then Tank Abbott kills them instead. So Tank Abbott single-handedly beat up the World Tag Team Champions and Chronic here.
Fuck. It's a bad dude.
Juventud Guerrera is backstage hunting for Lance Storm, shouting, and this is a quote, "I'm gonna hit you." Irony of ironies, somebody hits him instead. We see a weapon hit him. I don't see where it came from, who it was.
Fuck, I finally figured it out here because I said, I guess Lance Storm. And then I finally figured it out, and by the end of the show, I was wrong.
You were wrong.
Fuck this show. By the way, I didn't mention this. I was busy. But after the Vito versus Jamie-san match, okay? Yeah, I'm going way back.
Uh-huh.
There was a Terry Funk segment with Johnny the Bull.
Right.
Palumbo and Stasiak invaded the truck. Shane Douglas complained to M.I. Smooth. Filthy Animals were looking for someone. Douglas was backstage pretending he had a twisted ankle. Tank was walking backstage. And then 3 Count was doing their dance in the ring. There were 7 non-wrestling segments in a fucking row.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Bullshit.
I know.
God damn it, that was annoying.
And frankly, if you want to get technical about it, the Vito Young Dragon
wasn't even a match.
Was not actually a match.
Yeah, but at least there was action going on in the ring.
There was action in the ring. Hacksaw is now fired up for his match. He's backstage.
His wife is tears flowing like rain.
But Hacksaw is raring to go. I can beat him, he shouts. I can beat him.
Just walks off on her, leaving her in a puddle of her own tears. He's got a job to do.
A man's got to do what a man's got to do. Goldberg goes for a walk. Canyon now has a long line at his book signing, and it turns out that he is giving away free drink vouchers to people in line.
Write that down, Rob.
We have a Hacksaw video package
Yes, Rob.
recapping.
I was going to ask, is that your plan for your book signing?
No shit, that's my plan. Are you kidding me? Pay attention, dude. How are you doing this job paying attention like that?
Nothing gets by you, Rob. So,
Well, he thought maybe when I nodded him, it was just I'd give him a free drink if he came to my book signing. That's for everybody. You got it. All right, where were we?
Hacksaw.
This awesome Hacksaw video package?
yes, recapping his cancer
Yes.
announcement and triumphant return.
It's excellent.
And then the most pleasantly surprising great match in all of 2000.
Absolutely.
Maybe the best thing on all of Nitro in 2000. Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Goldberg.
Dude.
Now, I've seen a lot of Hacksaw Duggan matches. I have not seen very much of his Mid-South stuff, which is apparently his best work. But I've seen like pretty much every high-profile match he had in the World Wrestling Federation or World Championship Wrestling. And I was never very impressed. He was a goofy guy who came with a 2x4 and said ho and chanted USA. He's my dad's favorite wrestler.
He had a great match with Shawn Michaels on Raw.
Okay, all right. I have that easily believable.
Yes, like 95.
Yeah. All that said, this is like the best Hacksaw Duggan match I ever saw.
Absolutely.
With a heel Goldberg.
They heel Goldberg.
It worked.
So they go nose to nose. First of all, Hacksaw is like a giant. Like when I loaded up the preview for Nitro, the preview shot was them going nose to nose. I looked at it and thought, why is Goldberg going nose to nose with the giant?
Why is Hacksaw standing on a box?
Well, yeah. So Hacksaw, beyond having the same beard and hairstyle as the giant, his head may be as big as the giant's. His head is massive.
He's a big, raw-boned,
he is-
ham-fisted motherfucker.
He is a big drink of water. And they go nose to nose, and they're growling and snarling, and they start to brawl. It's so great.
Place goes
so
fucking crazy.
Unbelievably great.
They are going crazy for Jim Duggan
in 2000!
beating up fucking Goldberg.
Yes.
And he pounds him and he pounds him.
They're trading punches at first. His fry top.
No, here's the spot.
Yeah.
They're pounding on each other, and Hacksaw is beating the shit out of him against the ropes.
Yeah.
And the referee's like, you've got to back off. You're in the ropes. And as he backs Hacksaw off, Goldberg launches forward and hits him with a lariat.
Yes.
I was like, this is fucking perfect.
This is unbelievably great.
They brawl outside. Goldberg posts him, and then he targets the kidneys.
He works. No, kidney.
The kidney, the one kidney
He works,
left.
or is not kidney. I'm not even sure.
Yeah.
But he punched him where the kidney's supposed to be. But
It
one's
was
been
definitely
removed
the kidney because he was bleeding later from the mouth.
due to that damned cancer.
Yes.
Kidney's gone. So now Duggan's in big trouble. He's been punched in his kidney. And so Goldberg applies a neck vice. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, you sit the guy down, you got his chin in one hand, the top of his head in the other, and you tilt. And usually it's what they call a rest hold. And nothing happens. This was not a rest hold. Hacksaw Duggan worked more in this neck vice than Kevin Nash did in his entire Nitro run. His eyes are bugging out. He's sweating. He's looking in the crowd. He's getting them fired up. But then he starts to wear down, and he starts to go out. And the ref raises his hand once, and it drops. And he raises his hand a second time, and it drops. And he raises his hand a third time, and Hacksaw gives the big thumbs up. And I went, yes! And Hacksaw gave 2 thumbs up, and he was firing up. The place is going crazy, and Hacksaw fires up. Here's his entire comeback. He reverses a whip into the corner. He lifts Goldberg up, spins him around once or twice, and does the most dramatic body slam since Hogan and Andre at Mania. And he slams Goldberg to earth, and this is it. He's got it made. Knows he's got him where he wants him. He puts that hand to the sky. He's going to go to that corner and do the big 3-point stance. But when he turns his back, Goldberg pops up because Goldberg's a damn machine. And Hacksaw turned around, and Goldberg hits the big spear, and he hits the jackhammer, and he pins him.
Incredible.
I watched this whole match twice.
Duggan's wife
every second
is at ringside weeping. Goldberg starts pounding on his kidney. The referees are out there. I mean, this was the most incredible thing I ever saw. And some people at the time were like, this is so tasteless. This cancer deal. Listen to me. Okay. There's a huge difference between Roman Reigns having leukemia and going home to battle it, and people on television not knowing if he's going to live or die, using it to get heel heat. Okay?
Yeah.
That's fucking bullshit. But this guy got cancer, and he beat it.
Yes.
And he's back here, and because of the cancer, he has one kidney. That's the story here. And the heel worked on his one kidney that everybody knows about. Hacksaw did not have cancer at the time. Hacksaw survived. He's alive today.
Doing fine.
So
He's a fighter.
I did not have a problem with this.
No.
The only negative is like,
no,
there's a negative.
I will leave this room if you want to say it.
I'll say it.
I refuse to hear anything negative about this.
Would you
match.
shut up and put those on, you fucking idiot? It's not even about this. Hacksaw is never going to get his revenge on Goldberg.
Well, why would he?
What the fuck are you talking about? Goldberg beat the shit out of his one kidney and left him dead and his wife crying and him loaded into a hospital.
Goldberg or Duggan's like 60.
Oh my, he's not 60 now, you geek.
Well, whatever. But
the point of this is, if he would have somehow got revenge down the road, it would have been even better. Okay, but as far as like tonight as a what do they call it?
A one-night thing?
One-night thing is a self-contained deal. This was a 5 fucking star segment, right?
I agree.
Here.
That
the
I
whole
agree with.
show.
This was the best 3.5 minutes of Nitro this whole year.
This was so...
I mean, come on, Vinny. If you loved it that much, when it was over, weren't you thinking like, fuck, if only Duggan could come back and get his revenge?
No, this is a perfect tragic ending. Apollo Creed did not get revenge on Ivan Drago.
We do know that Hacksaw comes back. Like, he returns.
Like a couple weeks, yeah.
Sure.
And then, of course, the heel turn him because they're dumb.
They're absolutely moronic. But.
And the more I think about this right now, what an incredibly stupid company.
They're morons.
What a testament to how to work.
No shit.
I mean, the crowd was living and dying with everything that Duggan was doing. It was awesome.
But he was always...
I'm going to go home and watch it again.
Here's the thing, Vinny. Here's the thing. Yeah. The crowd always lived and died with him like this. The matches weren't always very good, but like this was Duggan. He always cut a great promo.
He was a star.
And he always got those fucking people behind every goddamn thing that he did.
It probably helped, actually. It only went 3:15.
It was just great.
I didn't need to see Goldberg and Duggan for 10 minutes.
That's fair.
But, I think of beauty. Deborah's moved to tears. Hacksaw's coughing up blood. They're bringing out a stretcher. He may be dead. Let's cut to a shot of Kevin Nash walking. And Lash LaRue being mad. So after the break, Duggan is being loaded into an ambulance, and Lash LaRue and 100 other goofs are there. And Nash says, this has got to stop. Mike Awesome versus Kevin Nash. Wasn't good, not horrible. Awesome gets a chair, but before he can use it, Nash boots it into his face and pins
There's an amazing spot where I believe that Mike Awesome was going to shoot German suplex Nash, and Nash elbowed his way out of it. Because literally he was in the air when he threw the elbow, and Awesome let go, and Nash fell down on his own ass.
Yes, that did happen, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike Awesome also body slammed him legit 3/4 of the way across the ring, and then did a big splash.
Yeah.
He flew that far.
Mike
that
Awesome was
huge man.
Yeah, Mike Awesome he was in fact awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tigress finds Rey Mysterio Jr. laid out backstage.
Oh, no.
Buff Bagwell goes for a walk. Scott Steiner flexes. Conan goes in the catering. He's searching for Lance. You punk Mark Buster.
Yes.
He said that many times.
For those of you who think, Vinny, you're making Conan sound white, that's what Conan sounded like. He said punk Mark Buster.
No, somehow you whited it up a little.
I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
I'm sure I did. But so somebody lays out Conan as well. Buff Bagwell versus Scott Steiner.
At this point, I'm going, Lance Storm is a ninja.
You know what I loved about this is, do you remember when Scott Steiner first became Big Papa Pump, and they tried to put women with him, and he was like so nervous?
Yeah.
And he was just like,
right.
You could tell that this guy in real life was really nervous around women. And then like he figured this out, and he became Big Papa Pump, and he cuts all these promos and talks about the 69er with Scott Steiner or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah.
Every now and then, like during his entrance or before the bell rings, there's a moment where like he needs to move Medeja, or
Yes.
Buff was like doing something to Medeja and Steiner walked over. He is the most incredible gentleman with these women.
Yes,
sure.
When he is out of character.
Very professional.
It's hilarious, actually.
He's holding the ropes for him. He's
He's
showing him
gently
where to go.
moving her out of the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but going into this match, I would have guessed that Buff Bagwell would have lost.
Right.
And then watching him wrestle, it was abundantly clear he was going to lose. He gave 20%, maybe. He's sloppily doing everything. I'll do a neck breaker, just let go in midair. I'll do the blockbuster, not even grab the guy.
He almost killed himself on his own fucking move.
Yeah. And then Steiner hits a belly-to-belly and pins him.
I didn't think this match was that bad at all. Now, Buff, on the other hand, he was
all right.
a star
It's
in
fine.
the match, but
I've seen much worse. They shook hands afterwards. They actually had a
I keep
face-off
forgetting.
beforehand.
You'll never believe it. I keep forgetting Steiner is a babyface.
It's been like a month now.
Because it doesn't make sense.
No. So Douglas attacks Buff from behind. Actually, this is awesome. Douglas comes through the crowd. He lays out Bagwell. Steiner goes to get Douglas, and Douglas flees. And Mark Madden says, hey, that angle's better.
Yeah, because he didn't just flee. He ran and did an Olympic vault over the top rope, landing on his feet on the ground.
Yep.
And then ran off into the crowd.
Sometimes Mark Madden is really funny, and that was one of those times. Pamela Paulshock is interviewing Jeff Jarrett.
No, she's interviewing Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett, I cannot believe that tonight you can lose the title without being pinned. He's like, yeah.
He cut the same Jarrett promo we saw 100 times on Nitro and 1,000 times in TNA. A conspiracy to knock him off the top of the mountain. Take an entire army to take this off my waist. Finally, he says, take this message to Terry or Hollywood or Hulkster. Get out of that wheelchair, get on that walker, and come to Bash to the Beach. I'll be waiting July 9th. That was a good promo there. Miss Hancock leaves David Flair's dressing room. We see Daphne watching, and then she goes into the dressing room.
Okay, so Miss Hancock comes out, and she's there to dance. I don't even know why. Daphne hits the ring to attack her, and Daphne gets her ass kicked.
Correct.
It's like every idiot babyface there ever is. Hancock beats the shit out of her and leaves. Mm-hmm. And then Daphne cuts a promo, and she couldn't... I mean, as if she wasn't enough of a geek by starting the fight and getting her ass kicked against a heel. She then explains that Miss Hancock is trying to steal her fiancé. They're still engaged.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been abundantly clear for weeks that he is fucking Miss Hancock.
Yeah.
she's not trying.
She has
She's
not
success.
broken up with him. She has not called off the engagement.
No.
She instead vows, I will ruin your life and send you back to Hooters
Yeah.
in an evening gown match.
Yes.
I'm so mad.
Well,
I'm going to take your clothes
a wedding
off.
dress.
She just said that she would
Whatever.
kick your ass. The dress stipulation got added later.
Okay, this is dumb.
You're right. She came off dumb. The Animals, who have all had their asses kicked now, they regroup. Glenn, they're calling him, as the only one who's escaped a beating. He has a plan. Glenn goes to put his plan into action. We go back to the book signing where Booker... for all this, the payoff is Booker T beats up Keenan and puts him through a table.
Yep.
So here is where Pamela Paulshock's cleavage interviews Miss Hancock.
Right.
Hancock says this should not be a difficult decision for David. challenges Daphne to a wedding gown match at Bash of the Beach.
She vows to wear something, quote, much more sexier.
Right.
She did say that.
She's supposed to be like a teacher or something, right?
Not English.
No, she's
Clearly not an English,
secretary.
like a math teacher.
She's a secretary.
Much more sexier. She
Disco
must have
comes
a
out.
real idiot boss that she's been transcribing.
That's entirely possible. Disco comes out and challenges Lance Storm, and out comes Lance Storm in his WCW debut. His first match, they gave him Disco Inferno.
Dude, it was fine. It
was fine.
It was a pretty good match.
I'm sure there's lots of guys in the roster you'd rather have.
Yeah, but what the hell? Disco Inferno at the point was a name.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than like a Chuck Palumbo or some dingbat.
That actually is a great point.
They had
It must
a
have been Chuck
pretty good
Palumbo.
match, and Lance got the rolling crab submission. I thought it was good.
It worked. The Animals attack.
They did botch something.
There was
Yes,
a
they
point.
did.
Something
And
got,
usually I can figure out what it is, but this time I could not figure out what it is. Hopefully Lance remembers.
I'm going to blame Disco just because the other one's
That's a
Lance.
very safe bet. There was a point because Lance Disco went for a backdrop, and Lance was like supposed to go behind him or something, and Disco fell on his ass, and then they both tried to save it, and as they tried to save it, each save got worse and worse. So then they just did the whole thing again. So the Animals swarm Lance when who should make the save but Billy Kidman with a pipe.
Kidman's a babyface again?
Okay, as I recall.
What?
As I recall, so it was Kidman versus Hogan with Horus as ref.
Sure.
Horus screwed Kidman. So Horus is a good guy. But then the next night, Kidman on Nitro turned on somebody in the New Blood. So Kidman's been a good guy since then. He just hasn't been seen.
Okay.
Don't
It's
you
dumb.
remember?
It is. It sure is.
Just
I
check.
guess you're supposed to feel sympathetic for him because Horus ended up with his girl, which kind of makes him a geek.
I don't know who ended up with his girl. She's gone.
She's just gone.
Yeah,
They
she's
couldn't figure out what to
vanished.
do with her, so she's just there and not being used.
Okay.
That's unfortunate. for
They
everybody.
can't figure out what to do with Tori Wilson.
I could think of two things right now.
That's a very talented group of producers they got. So anyway, Kidman cleans house with a pipe, and he was the one laying dudes out backstage, and that's that. Dale goes to the downstairs area.
I didn't watch or care about any of this. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
I wrote Dale Torborg just because I love writing it down.
It is a great
And after
name.
that, I gave up.
Dale Torborg is an all-time great horrible name.
It's a real name.
I know. And I say that, by the way, as someone named Vincent Verhey. I know about having a real horrible name.
Okay.
I mean, Grobrot, is it spelled backwards? That's worse.
Sounds like a Tolkien goblin.
I mean, that actually would be pretty good for like a heel.
Yeah.
Like a monster
It's a
heel.
good slimy name, Grobrot.
Like Lars Sullivan could have been Grobrot.
Sullivan would have been perfect Grobrot. All right, so here's what
So
you...
Dale Torborg is worse.
Here's what
We
you
can
missed,
agree.
Brian. It's Dale Torborg versus Vampiro apparently having a coffin match in the block.
I do remember they were fighting backstage, and suddenly there was a fucking coffin there that someone filled.
There's a random coffin there, which Dale Torborg is super kicked into. And Vampiro, I guess it's a casket match in the block, but Vampiro does not slam the
The
casket.
block is still a thing.
It is here. That's where they were.
Okay. All right. Did they say the block?
No.
Okay.
But
I think that's not a thing anymore.
But what is it?
I don't know.
Is it a boiler room?
It's
Backstage
just backstage.
So
In the bowels of the building.
Vampiro is, I guess, celebrating his win. I'm not even sure what he's doing, but
He
he's
won?
I guess. I don't know.
I don't
Okay.
think this was a match. But
He's
okay.
gloating over Dale Torborg in the coffin. When out comes Sting, who has now become Luke Skywalker at the start of Return of the Jedi.
Are we sure this is Sting? I don't think it was Sting.
Okay, was this the guy that Vampiro was talking to the Emperor?
Oh, who the fuck knows?
I forgot about that.
There's a guy in a black cloak
There's a reason you forgot.
with a Sting mask on. And my thought was, it's Skywalker showing up to Jabba's palace, all dressed in black now. He's now a Jedi. So maybe Sting is a Jedi now.
I think it was a fake Sting.
Or maybe a fake
I know
Sting.
it was a fake Sting,
Okay.
but I don't know if it was supposed to be a fake Sting.
I see.
You know what I'm saying? Like maybe Sting
Yeah.
really wasn't there.
No,
Get some guy that looks like Sting. He's not here.
Sure.
Put him in a fucking robe.
Where's fake Sting? New Japan. Oh, damn. So whoever this Sting guy was...
I actually think it was Chris Harris.
Really?
What?
Can you believe that?
Actually,
Yep.
I can. Yes.
Yep.
I totally can. Harris Sting lays out Vampiro and leaves the Sting mask on him.
Mm-hmm.
So Pamela Paulshock is interviewing the Filthy Animals. She says, I think it's Billy Kidman that's been attacking you all night. And Conan turns and looks at her, starts making Murder, She Wrote jokes, calls her Grace repeatedly, which I guess is Angela Lansbury's name, Murder, She Wrote, I don't know. And he challenges Kidman and Lance to a match at Bash at the Beach. We got Jeff Jarrett versus Kevin Nash versus Scott Steiner versus Goldberg. The announcers wish the best wishes to Ric Flair and his family on the death of Flair's father.
Oh, my God. So, Flair's father died 19 years ago this week. Now, if I recall correctly, Flair was adopted. He has no idea who his birth parents are.
Yes.
I shouldn't say real parents, birth parents.
Yeah.
So these are his adopted parents.
Yes.
Okay, now I bring this up for a reason. Like, let's say, Vinny, that your dad passed away at 65 of a heart attack. Okay? And your
We're getting very dark
grandfather
here.
and your grandfather passed away at 65 of a heart attack, right?
Yeah.
So you're thinking, well, these men passed away at 65 of heart attacks.
I'm going to change my ways.
Do you know how Ric Flair's father, who was not his birth father, passed away?
Was it a heart attack?
He had a bowel issue.
Oh, my.
He got surgery. There were complications, and he died.
That sucks.
No, do you know how Flair almost died 2 years ago?
Yes.
Did
He
have
had a
issues?
bowel problem.
Oh.
He had surgery. He had complications.
And he
the
almost
doctors
died.
gave him basically a 4% chance of survival, and he did survive.
All true.
Huh.
Isn't that
That's macabre.
astonishing?
That is batshit crazy.
It is crazy. I totally forgot that till I was looking through the Observer, and it talked about the death of Flair's dad. And when it explained how his dad died, I almost fell out of my chair. That's the craziest thing.
So,
Literally the exact same thing.
yeah.
It's crazy.
So, before the match, Goldberg lays out Nash backstage. So, there's now a handicap match, effectively, with Jarrett and Steiner versus... No, Jarrett and Goldberg
This
versus
is a way
Steiner,
to get Nash out of the match because he didn't want to work, let's be honest.
basically. All I know about this
Good.
match, and all I care about this match, is that at one point, Bill Goldberg grabbed Scott Steiner and pressed him over his head.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. They have a great
What?
match coming up later this year. A really great match. I know you're shocked. Scott Steiner and Goldberg.
He's real strong.
Hey, listen, I don't want to have to put over Nash too much, but let me tell you something.
Then don't.
When Nash finally ran down at the end,
The conquering hero.
and
Nash.
first off, he goes after Mike Awesome, who interfered, and Shat had said there will be no interference in these matches, but like we're supposed to forget that. He runs down to the ring, and he boots Goldberg in the stomach, and he goes for his stupid power bomb. This fucking crowd went crazy. Now, part of the reason they went crazy is because Nash is playing the role of a surrogate Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He's fighting for Duggan. So when he went down there and got his hands on Goldberg, it may have been the biggest pop of the entire evening. They went fucking crazy for that. And then he got cut off, goes to powerbomb Jarrett. Goldberg super kicks Jarrett, right? Or no? Nash.
Nash.
And Jarrett pins Nash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And trash fills the ring.
So the story is Goldberg only wanted to beat up Nash and did not care at all about the World Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
That's what you would think. That's dumb.
And so the crowd's pelting the ring with garbage, as I was pelting my iPad with garbage, and what garbage this fucking company is. And then, Goldberg had a contract that he'd apparently eaten and regurgitated.
That is the best we can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still don't know what possession of the physical contract gets you. Does that mean Hall gets back? Does that mean he's
Apparently,
free to leave?
I don't know. Like,
If
if
you
it
have
gets if it gets eaten,
If you have the paper in your possession, apparently all legal is out the window, and you just get the contract.
honest to God, we need to find out what happens if that contract gets eaten. Because, like, if he's free, there's going to be a whole roster of WWE stars eating their contracts over the next couple of days.
So, I want to talk a little more about the finish here. Kevin Nash runs down, or, as Tony Schiavone screams with glee, Kevin Nash wobbles down finally. Mm-hmm. Nash hits the ring. He hits a chokeslam, which Scott Hudson calls a Nodawa chokeslam, which inspired me to look up Nodawa chokeslam. Oh. So it's I guess it's what Akira Tao called it. I'm probably saying his name wrong too. But the Google suggested questions: how do you chokeslam someone? Who was 911 in ECW? And my favorite, did Abraham Lincoln invent the chokeslam?
Well,
What?
Did he?
Click.
Yeah. Granny, send this link to Granny. I want her report.
There you go.
The chokeslam was innovated by Paul Heyman for use by the wrestler 911. Though one of the earliest accounts of the move dates back to a 19th century recounting that describes Abraham Lincoln, himself a wrestler in his youth, using a technique very similar in description. That is from the Wikipedia article Chokeslam.
Wow.
Huh.
I'll be darned.
You learn something new every day.
Guess so.
That's not necessarily true.
They may not be true. So Jarrett wins, trash fills the ring, and Goldberg taunts Hall with a contract, which is important to have for some reason. Brian, music, please.
Would you like your music, Vinny?
If you're ready. If you're not busy.
I ask these damn questions, not you. Looking up choke slams.
The finishes on this show were clean pin, pin in an unofficial 3-on-1 handicap match, pin after weapon shot, clean pin in an amazing fight, a pin after a weapon shot backfires, a clean pin, a clean submission, knockout by a third party in what I guess was an unofficial casket match in the back, and then clean pin, I guess, in a 4-way.
Honestly, the Abe Lincoln article, I mean, forget what's in the article. I mean, just the fact that the title of the article is Abraham Lincoln, Amazing Wrestler. Okay. I mean, this should be a Hall of Fame article in any wrestling journal that there is.